Hello and welcome to one of the first games in the new GBR 2 vs 2 tournament. Twisted Meadows is the map and the players should be Anubis the Jackal along with Dart Destroyers. They are one team and the other team is Hector and Granty, both selecting Night Elf. So I believe there's probably some sort of strategy in mind. But this is one of the games that I'll be covering. I can't catch them all because there's enough people to consistently play. That's it, little acolyte, on your way. Yep, there's enough people playing that there should be two games going on at the same time. So I'll cover what games I can do, and hopefully they'll be entertaining for you, and we'll go all the way through to the finals. That's the aim. We'll see if we get that far. So yeah, starting off is Granty with our neutral tavern hero, but not from Hector. Ancient of War, both relatively similar timings. I'm surprised there isn't a Huntress Hall going down, or isn't some mass hunts build. Looks like a lot of archers. That could go very well or very badly depending on how well they micro and control those archers, because they're easy to pick off. But if they're in a situation where they can sit at the back doing damage, then yeah, you're going to have a very easy time with archers because they're very, very efficient for their cost if they don't get touched. Let's have a look. Still no Hunter's Hall. There wouldn't be. Warden from Hector. Granty has been scouted by Dart Destroyers. Archer going to try and chase down the militia that's soon to be a peasant. It probably will get a kill, but it'll take a long time. Anubis is going to be waiting for that cigarette, and I can only assume Death Knight. There we go. 3 ghouls. So maybe he's going for a lot of ghouls, or he's going to go 3 ghouls and then into fiends. So there's a lot of gold for Granty, so is there going to be some sort of feed going down? I'm not sure what their strategy is here at the moment. Just archers. Hector's got his resources under control. Granty, I'm almost waiting for him to put down some ancient protectors or something. Dark Ranger I just saw there. He's waiting for the tech, so a lot of wood is going to be gone. He can't really afford to lose those wisps. He needs those wisps stuck on the wood.
A player's forces are under attack.
Oh dear. That's pretty weird.
A player's forces are under attack.
Dark Destroyers! What item have you got for yourself? Oh, Ruin Braces. No one likes Ruin Braces. I don't know, the one of the worst items you can get. I've never looked at them and thought, wow, that's a bad item, but compared to the items that could drop, I'm not sure if they're like regarded the least. You know, they've got the least sort of interest from players. No one really wants them. All Overseer, what's it going to be? Ring of Protection +2. Sucks for you. And skeletons. I want to see an expansion go. There's no... I mean, I guess they're waiting for tier 2 because that's almost always what Granty will do, some sort of tier 2 rush. So they're just messing away. But the tech from Hector is a lot later, so maybe Granty is forced into actually playing a bit more normal because Hector's not working alongside with Granty's bizarre strategies. Are they going to pressure? I guess they were looking for a potential creepjack, and they're not going to get it. What is that all about? It's almost looked like they were on the same team there for a moment. They just sort of both stood there. Right, okay, so we got Hector running in the back here. His Warden is in trouble. He's being chased down by Anubis. We've got some attacks going on this side here. Granty's able to fend this off quite nicely. Let's have a look. Hector There is a dust of appearance, so Hector's warden, unless it can blink back or something, is about to die. Can't get in range of the water. Oh no! Shouldn't have turned back to do the freaking Shadow Strike. You had a moment there to get to the Moonwells. Definitely was a tiniest bit of a gap there. Granty fighting off versus the Dart Destroyers, pressuring him with the Footman defend. And Anubis up the top here, deciding what to do with himself. Hector's now got a bunch of archers that won't be too useful against defended footmen. The only good thing for Hector here is that those footmen are kind of weak, so there's an opportunity to pick them off a little bit. There's lots of water elementals going down. Anubis picking off wisps at the side. Fiends are always going to be fantastic, just sitting there doing damage. Granty's now coming in here. He wants to look for units to build up. It's Naga Sea Bitch there, so he's going to pick on that, try to pick off units one by one so he can build up an army of skeletons that they can help fend off this attack. But Anubis is on his way back regardless, and they managed to fend this off. But how much damage was really done there? I don't think it was as bad as it may seem. Hector lost his hero, but didn't really lose that much in units, and Granty didn't really lose any units there either. So Granty's sitting on 37 food, Hector's on 26 food, but that's not including his hero. As soon as he starts building a hero, that will go up to about 31 food or whatever. So they are now creeping this little camp here. That's pretty good for them. Lots of archers here. Good DPS from the back if they can be untouched. Anubis sitting at 28 food and Dark's on 29 food. So it's kind of hard to tell because not all players are efficiently using their resources, and I'm not sure what tech paths they've gone, such as Anubis. Has he upgraded his fiends? He has not. So far, really, this is still a very even game. That attack there didn't really change anything from what I can tell. Tier 3 almost for Granty, and Hector is starting to build up the wisps again. Is this an expansion? Probably not just yet. It's just clearing it for a potential expansion future on. Hector sort of on his own. They need to work together, Hector and Granty. They could move in for a potential kill on one of the players, or at least force a TP, because they're starting to clear out a lot of the camps, and they're in a position here with the daytime coming up to buy themselves some scrolls, which will be very useful for the archers. What's it going to be? Oh yes, boots of agility +6 and lots of circlets of nobility, so Dark Ranger's doing quite well for herself. Another creep camp about to be cleared or not. Hector's pushing his luck. He's got the Fire Lord second. They really should go for this, but there's not really much communication going on in that team, so I'm not sure how far they're going to get.
Forces are under attack.
It's pretty funny. So Anubis going for the Slaughterhouse, Destroyers potentially, Dark Destroyers, going for 2 Arcane Sanctums, so we're going to see some casters and Spellbreakers, I reckon. Rock Golem, what are you going to drop? What's it going to be? I'm almost expecting Rune Bracers, nope. The Lion Horn of Stormwind, often an underrated item. I'm still not sure exactly how I feel about it, but I think it is potentially pretty powerful. It just doesn't seem like it. I don't know. I still don't look at it that fondly. And I'm sure many people can make an argument for it, but I just still don't look at it. I don't look at it and I go, that's a fantastic item. I just don't. Okay, get over it. So we've got Granty here, who's not really doing anything more. He's kind of keeping it low on the wisps, although Night Elf do eat a lot of wood, as it were, which is why I often get a shredder when I'm playing Night Elf. Down goes one archer. Warden needs to get to level 3. The heroes for Hector are quite low, so we're going to catch up on the other heroes in a moment as soon as I can see what item is about to drop. It's going to be Boost of Quell Falas, pretty good for either of those heroes since they're both agility. So we've got level 2 or level 1. Granty is over here with his cheat colour, so level 3, level 1. Oh wait, no, he's got another hero as well. What's level 3, 3-1. Anubis sitting on 3-1 and Dark Destroyers on 3-1. Well, this is a 1 versus 2 scenario, so this is never going to go too well for Granty, despite his efforts to try and fight this off. Mountain Giant and Skeletons are going to be useful, but he's going to be forced to TP back here. He cannot hang in there too long. Quite a few archers picked off there, not really much lost, apart from Anubis' hero. There's one thing Anubis needs to do, is needs to learn to keep that Death Knight back. Death Knight is a melee hero, but I think it's unfortunately placed as a melee hero. Because more often than not, you don't really want your Death Knight anywhere near melee. I know people are going to complain about melee, but hey, I'm English, this is my accent. This is how I've always said melee, so get used to it. Deal with it. I can't really convert myself to saying melee. It doesn't sound right to me. So, here we go. Tomato, tomato. Hector moving down, almost like he's sniffed out an expansion, but I'm pretty sure both players can see each other, so he hasn't got much time. He's coming down here. Unfortunately, there's already 3 towers up, so he's not going to be able to do much, and he's going to get squashed from behind, so he basically needs to either run away from this with a TP, I imagine, unless he could get over here. That would be a great move, is to get the Zeppelin and get out. Otherwise he could just run away here. He's managed to buy himself enough time, and only losing 1 archer would be fine, but turning around just gives the Mountain King, yeah, too many chances to pick off the units one by one, so we don't want that. Anubis now got his Death Knight back. Arcane Sanctums need to start pumping out some units. Granty's now got beefier skeletons. Dark Ranger is early level 4, so no super skeletons at the moment. But you don't really think of them that much. You know, the level 3 skeletons don't seem to make that much of an impact. They probably do, but they're not really that noticeable. Probably in closer scenarios where you're actually worried about having a Cold War scenario where there's no one's really getting gold left and stuff like that. So if you can produce the level 3 skeletons, it's going to be pretty damn powerful for you. But otherwise, they're not that noticeable. It would be kind of understandable and still respectable to get level 3 silence instead of actual level 3 skeletons. Black Arrow, as it were, which leads to the skeletons. Simply because silence is, again, an underrated ability, but it's incredibly powerful, especially against human when they've got tri-hero. But it will be useful against this because it's human and undead. Both races quite well known for their nuking capabilities with the Mountain King and the Death Knight and the Lich and all that kind of stuff. So if they're all silenced, there's not going to be much nuking going on. Reminds me of a game I had recently, which is quite amusing. I still ended up losing it, unfortunately, because my allies weren't that amazing, but I did have a Dark Ranger, a powerful one at that, and I basically spent most of the game fighting 1 versus 2, as I almost always do. And there was the enemy team were very heavy on Tauren chieftains, and you know how the animation is quite slow for War Stomp. Well, I would always be doing silence just as they were doing the animation, and it would cancel it. And you got this War Stomp, this guy that desperately wants to do War Stomp, but he can't do it. And that's the one thing you really want the Tauren chieftain for in that scenario, is you get him up into melee range, smack down the War Stomp and stun a whole ton of units. But when you take that away from him, it's really annoying for him. So that was quite a fun game, at least, despite losing it. Robe of Magi here, +6. Gonna be useful for the Naga Sea bitch if she gets a chance to pick it, but I think Hector might keep that for himself. We'll see whether he gives it over to Granty or not. I get the feeling he won't. Oh wow, that was a nice little bit of attack there from Dark Destroyers. Definitely a very successful stealth mission there, but they're now going to have to respond to this attack over here. And this, oh no, did he TP back to his own main? I guess he might have done it because he's got enough resources to go buy some items and then TP back over to Anubis, who isn't in too much threat at the moment because these guys aren't committing to this attack. And even if they were, it's an undead base with some lovely towers and a lot of fiends. So yeah, no rush to attack that base. The problem at this point now is that the teams are probably looking for creep spots, but if you actually look, I don't think there's any left on the map apart from the corner spots, which are quite tricky to pull off because you have to be able to do them without something happening importantly in the game, such as a creep jack or an attack on an expansion or attack on the main. And if you're busy dealing with a level 10 red dragon, you know, that's not good. That's not good at all. So we got Granty moving in there with the MGs. The MGs are pretty damn powerful in the sense of basically being able to hold off any real pressure from the enemies. I mean, they're not really upgraded at all, and that was very unfortunate for Dark there. But this is going to be very pesky to deal with. When you know that the enemy have got MGs, it's a real pain in the butt. They have a good opportunity to at least get a good head start on this expansion due to the fact that Dark Destroyer's lost his hero and he's had to reset himself. I don't think they're even going to bother to try and save this by the looks of it. So Granty's had this expansion for a little while. This definitely looks like it's going down. There's going to be no defense for this. They really need to team up or find some sort of stealth attack again. There's a decent number of spellbreakers and footies. Let's go in for the Archmage from the tavern. I guess they want to make a move. This is a nice little intercept here. Should be able to get one bear at least. That hurts. That really does hurt. The spellbreakers attacking those bears. Very harsh. So this is really going to come down to a bit of nukage here because MGs soak up quite a lot of your army space. So there's really only a few archers here and a dryad for Granty in terms of unit DPS. Don't get me wrong, the mountain giants provide DPS in another way. One, they do attack, but at the same time, if they're taking damage away from the enemy, that's extra DPS you can comfortably do with your archers without having to constantly run them back and worry about it. Oh, are they going to have a fight at this point? Kind of squashed in between the towers there. That could work in their favours. They don't really want to fight at the ramp here too much, although it's not specifically a ramp, it's just higher ground, so I don't think the miss rates are going to have an impact, but we definitely want to see some militia coming in here. MGs are going to do a fantastic job here, just basically soaking up some DPS, but it looks like a lot of focus is going down on those bears, so despite the MGs sitting there trying their best to try and take away some attacks, it looks like Anubis has had an opportunity to poke away at a few of the bears. And I see spellbreakers, not so many spellbreakers, quite a few of them have gone down. It does definitely looks like Granty might be pushing ahead here. Dark Destroyers does have quite a few units, I can see him a bit more clearly now. The Fiends are still in play. He did get a web on that Zeppelin, I'm not sure what's inside the Zeppelin. Do we get to see? Oh, there's just one MG, so that's not specifically that important. Might be a pick off here on the Priestess of the Moon. Oh no, it's Starford teleported, nice move there. But now full focus is on the Naga Sea bitch, and I don't think there's a way to get her out of this situation because it was already used on the Priestess of the Moon. Giant about to go down. This Zeppelin needs to pick it up because it's done quite a good job of that so far. Granty's TPing back. He's going to save quite a lot of these units. He only really lost the Naga Sea bitch there. Anubis still putting lots of pressure on. The heroes are getting stronger, but they're not quite at that level 5 point, which is what they want. But Dark Destroyers both sitting at like 4-3. And they've got a decent chunk of units, but we have to remember that they don't have an expansion, whereas Granty does. And he's getting close to the point of getting the same amount of gold. But technically, Dark Destroyers and Anubis, not taking into account tax on upkeep, have received more gold this game so far. Slaughterhouses. Be nice to see some abominations, actually. I know they're not very favourable units, but still be nice to see them because they're always going to be kind of useful against Night Elf. Night Elf don't have a very strong answer to abominations. They can do okay against them, but it's not like they have a heavy counter to them apart from my shims, which I don't see any shims, so it's safe to say that abominations would be quite fine. Some pressure here on the moon whale. Oh, food cap, take that. Got to be careful here with these heroes. They're not that healthy and they're being a little bit picked off. I think the Mountain King needs to run back whilst the rest of the units distract. I think Dark Destroyers probably keeps all of his units in the same group by the looks of it, by just observing the way that they move. Anubis coming in around the side here. It looks like he's going to be able to pick off a few too many units here. Basically very bad news for Granty because he hasn't got a TP to get out of the scenario. Hector's actually coming in now. He's TP'd there, but the damage might already been done because Granty is now on his knees begging for forgiveness at this side. Oh, Stormbolt's going down aplenty. I want to see Anubis more nuking. There's a bit of silence effect on that Lech. It means that it can't use up that precious 150 mana. Wait for it. No, it can. Is it going to throw down a Nova? We don't want Dark Destroyers and Anubis to lose their heroes, and they'll be fine basically because there's not much DPS coming out here from Granty. And Hector's throwing down some more Firelord love. It looks like something's happening. The Archmage is being heavily pressured. So he's going to have to run. Maybe get a Zeppelin would be great touch. Do it. Yes, he's going to do it. Brilliant. Great job. So basically not losing your hero is pretty much going to win you. Well, I know the Mountain King went down, but as long as one of them freaking survives. He's got to still be a little bit careful. Be a little bit cautious. Be a little bit cautious with the Archmage. No. Oh, that literally must have like 1 health left. That couldn't have been closer. And we got Anubis now really powering through, hitting that level 5. Now he doesn't have the mana, but he's still going to get that mana eventually, and when he starts throwing down those coils, it's going to hurt. There's another expansion going down for Dark Destroyers at the bottom here. That's almost halfway done, so they can comfortably expand. Destroyers are pretty much going to run amok because there's not much of an answer for Granty or Hector to basically bring these Destroyers down. So I think this is pretty much definitely over at this point now. Very well played from both teams, but it does look like Granty doesn't have any option here but to basically leave, unless he heavily fed Hector, because he's got quite a lot of gold for himself, Granty, but Hector doesn't so much. He's got a few units queued up, and he's using that resources. He's still got a decent chunk of resources. They're not technically out of it completely and utterly yet, but it's not looking great. Princess of the Moon level 3. Has Granty got his Naga Sea Bitch? He does, and he still has the Dark Ranger, I believe. Yep. So he's got the power. If he could get to level 6, could potentially change the battle, but I'm going to say that this is a very comfortable spot for Anubis and Anubis and Dark Destroyers to be in. Oh dear. Quite a long game actually, I think. I know, because my throat is starting to get sore now. So this Tree of Eternity, how you doing? You alright? Not going to last much longer. No. Cheeky Archmage with a cheeky Zeppelin. Dark Destroyers now starting to love that Zeppelin play. Bring down those wisps before the Master Spells go off. Oh no, Death Knight, no mana for you. Okay. Did that Priestess of the Moon come out? I don't know. Did I not see that? I don't see it, Princess of the Moon. It's like he cancelled it, because obviously it was probably about to come out and get killed by the players that were sitting nearby. So a bit harsh. And Dark Destroyer is really making use of this Zeppelin now and going for Granty's last remaining Tree of Life, as it were. And he's building himself an Ancient of Lore to get himself maybe more giants, because that would be a good bet, since he's... I mean... There's not so much you can do with giants, but they could be potentially useful, especially with a high-level Dark Ranger, because you want units that don't die. And he's going for Merc units here, powerful Merc units. They're good units. They're not bad at all. Even at a late point in the game like this, they can still be very useful. He's going to decide to save this expansion, which is the right move, because at the end of the day, Dark Destroyer is on his own here. I don't know whether he's going to get away with a kill, potentially, but the Zeppelin could pick up the Mountain King. Oh no, he decides to use the Staff of Sanctuary instead. Zeppelin's now getting the Frost Arrows treatment. Anubis kind of ignoring what's going on over here. Doesn't necessarily have to respond to it, but the Destroyers are a good response regardless, due to these greater Dark Minions. You do go for the level 3 ones. So the damage doesn't really increase much, but the health does. So if you're looking at them from a tanking point of view, they're worth it. If you're looking for damage point of view, then they don't really do that much extra. Slow as well. But they just sit there. I mean, Granty's got a very tanky kind of combination here, but the heroes are potentially good at sniping and doing that DPS. Many Dryades is not a bad touch. That could be very useful, actually. They're very annoying to deal with, and they've got a fair bit of armor, so they shouldn't be too easily picked off. Destroyers can't do anything against them. Fiends will be able to do something, but Spellbreakers will be okay against them. Nothing fantastic, though. It's this expansion for Anubis almost up. When that goes up, there's going to be a nice bit of resource. Dark Destroyers going back here on the gold mine. And Anubis and Dark going to be putting some pressure over here. This should be the last battle, I imagine, unless one of the players gets out. That's a melee Death Knight. Get the melee Death Knight back, or take the invulnerability part. Now take him back. He doesn't need to be in the front. Keep him back. But this is a decent number of Dryads putting down some hurt here on the Destroyers. Some Naga Sea Bitch, Chain Lightning going down there. Mountain King needs to freaking get into the Zeppelin or get out. Basically, both of those players, they're losing. There's a lot of hero sniping going off here, and quite successfully so. Grant is sniping off the heroes. Mountain King is just sitting there waiting to get killed, but he hasn't been picked off yet, which is a really good boon for Dark Destroyers. They are pressing ahead, though, because the units just aren't able to fight first assist, but the heroes themselves have actually done a fantastic job. I'm surprised that Dark Ranger isn't level 6 yet, but they're doing okay. Have they actually... Oh, they're still going for this. Anubis he's got lots of mana here for lots of coils, but he needs to keep playing around with that. Take it in, take it out, all of that. Shake it all about. Be careful with that. The Mountain King's still alive. Quite a few units are actually left inside here, so you might want to drop those before that goes down. Never mind. Throw down the hurt. At least bring down the Priest of the Moon. Basically having a TP at that scenario basically means that they can now go ahead and win this game. If the Death Knight went down, that might have been very different. Now the Dark Ranger is level 6, and Granty's going to have to work very hard and very fast to actually make decent use of this level 6 Dark Ranger. You've got to remember that whilst Charm is an amazing ability, because it's got such a short cooldown, 40 seconds, I believe, it's 150 mana, and that's kind of a big chunk. It's quite reasonable, but at the same time, you use it once, and then when you want to use it again, that's 300 mana, so you need to keep that Dark Ranger as mannered up as possible. Now, I don't think Hector, he does actually have an expansion up here. So does Granty, but Granty doesn't have a main. So basically there's more gold coming in for Dark Destroyers and Anubis at the moment, but it's still not totally over. And Warden, level 3, not too powerful, so not too significant if that comes back. Oh, that finally wore off, did it? The Zeppelin, when it's destroyed, that must be like 60 seconds or something if you're in a Zeppelin. So Anubis, and I mean, it's too powerful, I think. I don't think Granty's going to win this unless, you know, Granty and Hector can get a lot of decent charms off and just drag the game out. I mean, this is a very good attack here because the Anubis certainly didn't want this to happen. This is a whole bunch of acolytes killed, more experience for Granty, and potentially a kill on that expansion, but maybe not. Might be forced back before. Don't know. There's a lot of DPS actually with those skeletons. This Mountain King is just not that damn strong. He needs to be far more healthy before he enters a fight. So this could potentially cost him, but there's a good teleport there. So once again, oh, actually worked in their favour. See, this is it with that Death Knight, level 6 and level 5 Lich. That's level 3 Nova and Coil. It's very hard to survive versus that kind of nukage. And the Mountain King not dying, once again, is basically a huge boon. Get a priest or two just for healing that Mountain King, because that Mountain King cannot afford to die, really. But at this point, Granty is grasping at straws. Might go for a cheeky charm, but this isn't the kind of scenario where they need to... Oh, Naga Sea Bitch is being bought out. Is this going to be a good idea or a bad idea? We'll find out in a moment. Mountain King is looking a bit sorry for himself. He's going to go for a bit of a snipe on potentially an expansion would be the best bet. Really, Granty wants a scenario where none of the players, well, none of the enemy players have an expansion, and it comes down to like a last couple of units. Did Anubis ever get to make Frostworms? He did. Now this is going to basically make it very difficult. Or is it? Because if Granty can get a charm on those Frostworms, the Frostworms aren't the right thing to build here. Only if you can get like a decent critical mass of them. And then you can basically ignore the fact that one of them is going to be charmed every 40 seconds. Because the damage is just going to be done from having 3 to 4 of them. So he definitely needs a couple more Frostworms to come out. So even if Granty does manage to nab one, it's not going to absolutely destroy Anubis. Now this is going to destroy Hector. He's got 1,000 gold, but there's a lot of wisps here. Can he dispel them in time? Otherwise it might get a bit more experience. Frost Nova going down. More experience. Mountain King needs to get level 5 for that level 3 Stormbolt. Archmage already level 5. Water Elementals start pumping those out. They're getting ready for this. This might be the final fight. The fights just keep on going. We're going to be out of resources soon. Quite a tight first game, that's for sure. Ooh. Do not get caught out. Stay together. Let's see. Okay. They're moving around here, just playing it smart, going for expansions, choosing not to go into the choke point and try to bring them down, because that is going to hurt them if they did decide to come and attack from down here upwards to this. But they're going to respond to this. Now we're going to have a good old classic fight, and it comes down to who can pick off any heroes. Oh, that hurt. That Naga Sea Bitch did not stand a chance. That totally backfired. Now there we go. There is one charm going down on the Frostworm that's going to be useful, but granted cannot survive this kind of surround here. Fiend DPS with the -5 armor produced by the Lich and the Orb of Corruption. Meanwhile, Dark Destroyer's still got healthy heroes at the moment. The Bears are starting to pummel a little bit on the Mountain King being picked up there. And Priestess of the Moon and a few Dryads doing a fairly good job versus Anubis, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Death Knight in a fair bit of pain, but he could potentially use his ultimate if he wanted to. I don't think there's a Death Pact. Oh, look at that. The Warden going down. The coils are just too damn strong at this moment. And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt in a moment because they're going to have... Oh, there was a Death Pact. Ah, he got level 7, I see. He chose to go for that just to make sure that he could stay in this. And that's it. Job done. Granty is owned. Well done, Anubis and Dark Destroyers. You have defeated Granty and Hector. And I think we can move on in this tournament unless one of the players is just going to sit there and not do anything. But I think they'll all be mannered and they'll all leave. There you go. Oh, wow. That was a tough game. That could have gone either way for quite a long time. A lot of heroes killed from Anubis there. Once that Death Knight and Lich get sort of like level 5, they can really start picking off. But he was picking off before. The Orb of Corruption is just insane. Not to mention that Dark Destroyers with the Mountain King can do a lot of useful Storm Bolts. So the focus fire on potentially weak heroes from Granty there is just too much to deal with. They're very useful heroes and practical, but Naga Sea Bitch in a long game doesn't work out too well. She gets well, you saw it basically. Whenever she's available, she's gonna get nuked whenever she's within range. Okay. Hello, welcome to the next part. Twisted Meadows is going to be the theme, I think. Double Human from Albert and 01. And Granty and Hector are random and undeads. So let's see. Albert's going for the 2 peasants on altar, farm, jobs are good. Okay, so Albert bottom left. Oh, so that means it's 01 top left. Okay, so they've got the left side versus the right side. I don't. There you go. Sorted. So, what is this double human going to be? Is it just because they love human, or is it because they got a strategy? So, Hector with his undead goodness this time, because he was night elf before. So double undead versus double human. This could go really bad for undead if it goes long, but if the game's kind of short, then maybe it's probably better for undead. We'll see. Just having a little look-see. Should be a hero being produced soon for Albert, yes. Buddy. 01 go for Mountain King. Not Archmage. How crazy is that? What is he thinking? Well, we'll see. We'll see whether there is some evil genius there. Hector, what are you up to with that Acolyte? What does it want to do? These are ghouls, baby. There's no fiends here yet. There we go. Ghouls, ghouls, ghouls. More ghouls as well for Granty. So, I guess they're actually going to follow a strategy this time. They're both maybe working in unison rather than as separate entities in the same game. Aha! Water Elemental moving in there, beast in there, hits from the Rock Golems. Down goes the Mud Golem. Next is the Rock Golem. Are we going to see Rune Braces? We'll come back to that in a moment. Little scout there from 01. Kind of a odd scout, but I think he got enough to know that an undead is there. Oh, what was it? Boost of Quel'Thalas. Pretty much as useless as you can get, to be fair. I mean, at least it provides armor, but it's pretty bad because human, unless they're going to use a neutral hero, do not have any agility heroes. None of them. None of them really want agility either. So that's pretty terrible item right there. 0-1 getting stuck in. He really wants to kill that ogre warrior. Maybe the golem will be the next choice. We want to see that go down. Shadow troll priest. Do some healing. Do some healing, you slacker. Stop freaking attacking. Mantle of intelligence. Not for you. Scroll of the beast. Could be useful in a 2 versus 2 scenario if used correctly. Oh, this is really not what they want. He didn't even pick up the items in time. Loses out on both the items there, and he's forced to TP from this scenario. So I don't agree with the scroll of raw being used right there. I think it was a bit premature, to be honest, because now it's kind of wasted. I think you should definitely save that for when you're inside the opponent's base and both together. I think Albert's trying here to maybe get himself ahead. This is why he's basically doing this expansion over here. It's because I understand it. He needs 0-1 to buy as much time as possible, stay alive in the back of his base preferably, whilst Albert gets this expansion secured, then TPs up, and then hopefully fights this off. If he manages to successfully fight this off, then he's got the expansion. So I know exactly what he's trying to do there, and to be fair, I'll probably try and do the same myself. Now that arcane tower could definitely swap onto a different hero. That'd be nice, but it looks like 0-1 is going to be running out of units very shortly. The damage is going to be done to his economy quite nicely. Albert's in a good position here, so I don't think they can capitalise on that. That actually didn't go so bad for them. It's kind of weird. That could have gone a lot worse, I'll be fair. I mean, there's still a decent number of peasants lying around there. It didn't go great, but considering Albert now has this expansion secured by the looks of it, unless both of these players, Hector and Granty, make their way straight down and kill it, which I don't think they will. They want to keep the pressure here, because they've got an army here, they want to use it. They can either back off and creep, potentially. But they're okay, actually, 0-1 and Albert, from the looks of it. Not really in too bad shape. Ghouls aren't that powerful, remember, so... Ooh, Granty is actually coming down here. I guess he probably did detect that Albert was expanding, because if your opponent doesn't TP straight away, you have to assume they're busy with something, and an expansion is one of those. The expansion is going to go down, so there will be a TP potentially, if there is one bought. But he's not too far away, Albert, and he needs to get in there and defend that ASAP, but his main is being attacked whilst his expansion is being attacked, so this is basically worst case scenario for him. He cannot really take on both at the same time. 0-1 having a nice little scout here, but he's not going to find anything. There's nothing there. Granty hasn't got that many units. He's going to try and get a kill on this Archmage potentially. The surround is there, but I don't know if he's going to necessarily get the kill, because Albert might be able to get out of this situation. Just... That was about as close as you can get it. I'm surprised, actually. That went a bit better for him than he would have ever hoped. There is no more sleep, and that's the right move from Albert there, going right, because the Death Knight could have finished him off with the coil. So he's going to avoid any hero nuke there, and footies are here to stay and fend this off quite comfortably. 0-1 now got himself a shredder, so he's not going to be so dependent on peasants, but he's still got a decent chunk of them, so he doesn't desperately need the shredder, but it's always nice to have one. What was that item actually, looking at it? Oh yeah, Scourge Bone Chimes, definitely a very nice item for this scenario. He needs to TP over, buy a TP, go. Because this is pretty harsh. Albert obviously doesn't want to lose this expansion, because he lost quite a lot in terms of team play when coming to defend this. You know, he could have gone straight there and said screw it to the expansion, but he said no, so he needs to keep this expansion, because they've already lost quite a lot, and I don't think they've got enough at this point. There's a huge chunk of units here, plenty of skeletons, another skeleton rod over here for Hector. It doesn't look good. Oh damn, that Archmage is asking. He cheekily goes in there and runs back. That's a good little bolt there. Could potentially capitalise on getting a kill on that Death Knight, maybe. Another bolt, perhaps. There's definitely lots of mana. Oh wow, those are hitting hard. It's a level 2 bolt. Those are definitely hitting hard. It's going to force a TP, and Albert does get to keep his expansion, which is really what they have to have happen. They cannot... I mean, really, we need to look at this situation now, because... yeah, Grantee has been pushed back, along with Hector, but they're both going on their tier 3. Double Slaughterhouse, and Mass Destroyers, potentially. Grantee's still putting pressure down here. And he can successfully... oh, look, another coil from the Death Knight at least. But those Storm Bolts are really hurting from the Mountain King. And I think the Scourgebone Chimes is just fantastic. That Archmage really just asking to be killed. But not quite getting there. There's a nice little surround here. Just sneaking out there. Grantee's DK. not going to go down. You said he's going to go down. Not going to go down. Maybe if Albert can chase it down. But 0-1 needs to swap over onto the Dreadlord. TP's being used. Because this isn't really a fight that Grantee can win. So let's have a look. Yeah. Tier 2 soon and Tier 2 soon. Or is that Tier 2? Yeah. I think so. Whew, a lot of resources here for 0-1 at least. Albert's not got so many. But he has got this expansion and they're being spent otherwise. Now, when these destroyers get massed, are Albert and 0-1 going to be able to handle it? Because I don't think they are. There's still a decent chunk of ghouls at least as well, potentially to be enough of a threat, let alone the destroyers that go with them. They're quite expendable. Hero levels aren't massively high. 2-1 and just 2. Lich coming out. 3 for Albert. Almost onto level 4, but I don't think he had a second hero. And level 3 Mountain King. Pretty powerful, but no second hero either there. Second hero coming out now. Blood Mage, that's kind of an interesting choice. I'm not sure how that's going to fend. I think Paladin might have been better, but hey, who am I to say? Go with what you want. Blood Mage could still be very useful. I have to hope so. Especially if he feeds the Mountain King mana. If he's going for that strategy, then yeah, it could be potentially better than the Paladin, because the Mountain King's just throwing out Storm Bolts 24/7. And they're going to hurt, because that Mountain King's getting pretty powerful. So, are we getting an expansion secured over here? I think we are. There's a lot of towers here now. That's going to put off some attacks. You're going to need those towers as well, because destroyers are going to hurt. You need lots of towers against destroyers to even survive, really. 0-1 has cleared his expansion as well, and peasants are moving over there so they don't have to wait for militia to run out. So it will actually be quicker, to be honest. Only slightly, but should be quicker. Looks like Team Grantee and Hector are moving up from the bottom right to the top left, potentially sniffing out a potential expansion. They're definitely going to get a sleep in a moment, which is not what they want. Oh no, you pretty much need to TP, but you can't TP because there is no TP, so he's going to now lose a Blood Mage and 2 rifles. This is very unfortunate. There's a nice little banish there, but the problem with this is probably done that because he wanted to try and save it, so he selected Banish, but I don't think he intended necessarily. But now that Blood Mage is stuck with Banish. So he's pinholding his base, and it looks like Hector and Grantee are moving in for the kill. They'll be able to convert into destroyers soon, I assume. Albert's going to have to mass up, get items from the shop, go, and then TP over, because this is not looking a very comfortable spot for 0-1. These militia are going to go down a lot quicker than they did the last time. Destroyers coming in. I don't think there's much of an answer, but the rifles will be kind of useful. Oh, Stormbolt going off there on the Death Knight, but it's only the level 1 version of the Stormbolt. Level 4 Mountain King now. Grantee's Dreadlord kind of spazzing out at the back there. Nice little spot here for the Lich. Just sit down and just throw down Orb of Corruption attacks. So Albert's now forced into a situation where his Archmage probably needs to get out of there because he's going to be refocused soon, which he's doing. Mountain King pretty much inevitably going to die, so he's going to throw out Stormbolt. Grantee's hero almost going down there, forced to TP, so they've actually bought themselves a bit more time. Is that a Necro Wagon? Well, not Necro Wagon as such, but Meat Wagon at least. That didn't go too bad for these guys. Again, they kind of just about survived there, and that was pretty big. It's not over by any means. There's a lot of wagons here. I'm not sure what's coming out afterwards, whether there's going to be necromancers, because that's a huge focus into wagons. I mean, not necessarily a terrible choice. We'll see how that fares. That could be more useful than you think. Going to be more destroyers, but Granty's not sitting on a lot of cash. He has got this expansion over here, but he's in this scenario where he wants like a good 300 or 400 gold more than he currently does, so he can really pump away on those statues and then destroyers, but he's going to have to play it kind of careful and slow. Hector's got a huge army though. He's got very little resources left, but he is sitting on 62 food. That Lich with the Orb of Corruption is more useful than one would assume as well. I don't fancy this army from Albert, and this really comes down to their heroes. So as long as they don't lose their heroes, that's kind of the key here. But I feel like the rifles could potentially get picked off kind of easily here. Granty's Dreadlord is under so much pressure that he's probably going to be forced to TP out unless he can sneak out of there, which he can do. Cheeky little sleep. Albert Einstein keeping his Archmage at the back. Nice little Frost Nova there. Lich now being focused. Go back onto the Dreadlord, I assume, in a moment. There's only one more coil at least, and he's going straight on that Dreadlord just to give him a bit more health, keep him in the game. Meat Wagons being focused down here. They go down very quickly if they are focused. It does look like the rifles are doing okay though, despite all the abominations and that running around. The rifles are kind of sitting there okay. They're not pushing their luck too much. They're not letting them get hit too much. They're running back when necessary. And they probably need to TP out of this scenario, but they can't. There's no TP. Mountain King might have a TP. He does not have a TP. So they can walk away from this at least, which is what they really want to aim to do, because I don't think this is a comfortable fight to be in. I mean, they're not weak by any means, Albert and 01, and especially when he gets level 5, that's going to change a lot. They're basically still in this fight. I mean, I think this could be it. Could be it. Could be it, actually. They're going back and forth. I keep thinking they need to run from this, but they're actually okay. Granty's now got a stupid amount of resources. He was really scrapped, so he needs to get that macro pumping away. Meanwhile, Hector's got a decent chunk of resources, so they can still run away from this and rebuild if necessary. But the humans, I say, it's going into that kind of late game stage where their heroes are going to be very powerful. The Mountain Kings are going to be very, very annoying for the undead to deal with. Tier 3 almost finally from 01, and tier 3 already achieved by Albert. Maybe Knights? No, we've got double racks here, so he's either going to just keep going the rifles, or he's going to switch to Knights as well to accompany those rifles, because there's a decent chunk of rifles. A few priests coming out as well, nice cheap priests, keep the units alive. Potentially for Dispel as well, some sort of response. There's no Dispel researched yet, but we've got these meat wagons and I want to see them being used. Perhaps Hector thought that maybe they could finish the game a bit earlier and use the meat wagons to bring down the main. If they were still fighting in the main, they'd be a lot more useful. Granty's now TPing in, I can only assume. He is. He hasn't got much to respond to this though, but Hector's got a lot more. So there's all the ghouls as well coming in, so they could actually do a decent chunk of damage here. These rifles, like I say, they are pretty vulnerable. If they can keep those rifles a little bit more back and just sort of buy as much time as possible with the heroes, they can survive quite nicely here. I keep underestimating these rifles, but looking at this scenario with the abominations and the ghouls ripping through, I think they need to get out of here, and there is a TP, so they pretty much need to do it. TP out, that is. Ooh, level 5 Archmage. This is a much better spot though for Granty and Hector. They got a much more comfortable position here. But the heroes are still very strong. Mountain King just hasn't hit that level 5 point. He needs to hit it. I don't think this is a great fight though. They basically need to get out of this a lot earlier because abominations do not die very easily. They need to get out. Get out whilst they can. Has 01 got a TP? He does indeed. They're still staying here though. I mean, if that Mountain King can frickin' hit level 5, the game, I mean, the fight could change a lot. There's still plenty of water elementals to come out, so they can sit here and fight this. But that Mountain King really needs to just get level 5 already. But he's not going to do it. He's going to get killed. No, he needs to TP out. Okay. So that really covered very well for Hector and Granty there. They needed that. They needed that badly. They've only got this one expansion, and they want to keep it. 59 food for Hector, 41 for Granty, but he's got a decent chunk of gold. There's the knights, we want to see those. 51 food for Albert, and 54 food for 01. So they're both very strong. Definitely need that Mountain King level 5. Pick off units, focus those units, then start going for the heroes as soon as he gets the level 3 Stormbolt. Coordinate attacks maybe. But the abominations are going to be a nuisance, there's a lot of them. So if there was a massive switch to Griffins, that would be like super hard counter. We've got lots of Morts coming out, frag shards, pretty useful, but not so much against this many abominations, which is actually working quite well for these guys. I think they've picked up on this. They've sort of said, right, there's a lot of rifles going on. They don't seem to have an option to go to Griffins just yet, so let's spam out some abominations. There's good upgrades for Hector though, and those abominations, which is going to make them a real pain. Knights are going to be useful, but that's a lot of abominations. I'm just going to say it right now. That's a lot of abominations, although there's quite a few knights for 01 as well, so actually the amount of knights versus abominations is kind of even. It's just because abominations are so fat, it looks like there's more. Oh, there's an attack going on here at the expansion. Granty level 4 and level 4, halfway through level 4, level 3, level 3. So they're not doing too bad, but Albert and 01 definitely have the more powerful heroes. I'm not sure this is the greatest spot to TP to defend it. There are some precious buildings here, but I think this is too late now to TP there. Maybe they'll come and attack it from underneath. There is a TP going down, which means that Albert needs to get into this fight ASAP, otherwise 01 might get caught out. Okay, he's going to flank from the left side. Mountain King is now level 5, thank God. He's using the Stormbolt on that, but they're putting a lot of focus on that Mountain King, which is the right thing to do because they know that he's a huge threat. He's got 400 mana to blow, but at the same time, if he's dead, that 400 mana ain't going to do nothing. So he's going to get kept alive here. Nice little banish there. It was that Holy Light, I think that was from Albert. So he's keeping that Mountain King in the game, which is pretty much going to be one of the easiest ways to keep the win. But, oh my, this is so messy at the moment. Abominations all stuck in the middle, kind of being flanked from the outside. Water Elementals going down all over the shop. Death Knight falling down. The Lich has gone down. The Blood Mage has gone down. The Lich has gone down. It's all going down. So many abominations, still healthy at this point, but the Mountain King is now in a better spot to get back into the fight without being picked off too easily. I imagine there's quite a fair bit of mana that doesn't exist now for the undead. Yep, 16 mana. That's a funny way of me saying it, but that's the way I got round to it. And 52 mana for Granty, so he's going for a hero surround here potentially to try and desperately sway the battle, but it doesn't look good because the Mountain King's throwing down the Stormbolts. The Dreadlord is now the one being surrounded, in trouble. Such a mess. It doesn't look very pretty. Looks very smelly. Albert's now forced to TP out, but he might be able to get a kill on Granty's hero just before it goes off. Yes, he does. Capitalizes on that. The correct move to do. Just means that 01 needs to respond to this by running away, which is the right thing to do. They're basically picking off all the heroes, and the only thing that's going to be left are abominations. So pretty much heavy swap to Griffins and you're A-OK, because it's still kind of hard to fight those abominations, especially when they're that maxed out. But you still have to treat them as though they're on their own and pick them off one by one, because they've got the power to do it with the heroes now. They're so strong. Humans are just gonna pretty much obliterate this in a moment. Pick off all of those little abominations, especially the low HP ones. Soak up the experience from it. Decent chunk there. Granty now having to run away these abominations. They're kind of fast actually. Faster than they seem. Not moving too slowly, are they? They're doing a fairly good job. Even Stomp ain't gonna do nothing. More knights coming out. It's just too much now. And Albert's got a huge chunk of resources. These abominations, now that they're on the run, are just pretty useless at this point. But they've served a purpose. And they are quite tanky. You don't really use them for damage much. And it kind of proved itself there, because there was a huge amount of abominations, but not much really got killed in that huge fight. So now we can just pretty much finish this off, because there's no way that Granty and Hector can pretty much come back, I think. Oh yeah, they still got abominations and all that, but after losing that fight, they needed to win that. And even if they did win that, that would have... I mean, unless they got lots of hero kills, then they definitely would have won, but it still would have been kind of even. But at this point, look at all this. There's so much. Both tri-hero as well, which is a very powerful thing to do as human against undead if you can control it correctly. And at least get your paladin to level 2, which it is, so you've got a defined shield to rely on. Cheeky expansion at the top here, because Alba's expansion probably doesn't have much life left in it. It has a fair bit, but it's been there for quite a while. Been through its ups and downs. A huge swap over here from Grantee to mass destroyers once again, because there is a distinct lack of rifles, if you notice. And we need to see some orbs basically on the human heroes, and that's going to pretty much counter those destroyers, because they're not exactly the most ownage DPS for cost ratio. So as long as these powerful heroes can get an orb each, which I'm sure they can afford, they can pretty much take care of those destroyers, despite there being very little actual counter to the destroyers in terms of units.
Players' forces are under attack.
Well, they're getting ever closer to Hector's base here, so I'm pretty sure this last fight is going to go down, unless they get themselves in some sort of pickle. But it's just not going to be enough. The only thing you can really do with these destroyers is just super heavy focus those knights, maybe, and get some kills and get some experience, and then get Inferno. But even then, it's still tricky. Basically, there's a 10% chance, I'd say, for the team on the right, Grantee and Hector, to pull through here. It's very slim. They've still got a decent chunk of units, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, these heroes are just so comfortably strong. They're not going for this because they don't want to go into it, but they're both undead bases, so you're going to have to attack an undead base. But I suppose they'd rather go for an expansion, which would be an easier choice to kill, and it would cripple them a lot more, unless obviously they killed everything in the base. So many knights, so little time. You thought there was a lot of abominations, just check out how many knights there are. Oh, Grant is getting ready. He's going to need a lot of cash though to convert all those statues into destroyers. Oh wow, he saw that, did he? Did he see that? Oh, that was weird. A stove.
A player's forces are under attack.
That's a little suspicious, but we'll go with it. Get that gold messed up. Start freaking converting those destroyers now. Oh, there's a tank there. That's a very nice touch. That'll be very annoying. This is it. This is what it all comes down to. Can these destroyers be enough? A huge chunk of abomination, so they're just going to sit there taking damage. Destroyers are now all messed up, so there's going to have to be a lot of focus down here. If they can pick off a hero, then go for it. Otherwise, try to pick off knights as much as possible. Get that experience, get the powerful heroes, get the Inferno, but the Inferno's quite far away. Man King's going to get Avatar quicker. There's gyros here that's going to slow down the destroyers, DPS a little bit, because they're going to have to focus down those gyros first before they can then go onto the knights. Grantee's got himself a little bit surrounded up here. The Death Knight's looking in a bad spot. Banish and then a Stormbolt in a moment. Yeah, Stormbolt and a Holy Light. It wasn't a Stormbolt, it's Stormbolts and Holy Lights from Albert there. There's still plenty of mana left for that Mountain King on green. It is quite tricky to play the whole tri-human caster thing. You have to practice it a lot, and I don't practice it at all. So if you find yourself in that scenario, it's very difficult to play with, because you're like, oh crap, I've got to get all of this to sort of flow. Albert, have you got a Defiant Shield, or has it already been used? I assume it's already been used, because now you're dead. Those destroyers are still very healthy. There's not really any counter left to this. Abominations are plentiful. Grantee's still got his Dreadlord, he's still got Lich, there's still both heroes for Hector as well. Basically, they've actually forced Albert back, which in turn is going to force 0-1 back. That went really well for them. Really well. Destroyers are kind of weak, but I don't think any of them died. And Hector leaving this ghoul over here is very annoying, because Albert's gold is coming to an end. I don't think 0-1's going to have... Well, he's got a fair bit left, agreed, but they've lost a lot. They really have. Potentially, Grantee and Hector now have more.
Players' forces are under
So I think that 10% chance to win just paid off. I suppose it's 10% chance to win if they attacked from there. A much more chance to win from here, but even then, still, the fight did not favour them. But not losing their heroes is what basically did it. 0-1 needed to optimise that Mountain King mana a little bit more. Throw down Stormbolt off cooldown. Don't try to wait too preciously for those banish moments. Throw it down, because especially if you've got the mana to go, because you don't want to waste Stormbolt potential. And Stormbolt hitting them without banish is potential enough. With banish, sick. But obviously, I'd rather see Stormbolt just being used flat out than not at all. Well, Albert, there is no expansion for Yell. Even if they took a corner expansion, they'd be in trouble. Because there wouldn't be a very easy way to defend it against the Destroyers. They're getting the response now to the Destroyers. I suppose if they can kill the Destroyers, they still stay in the game, because like I say, they've got these super powerful heroes here. Really, really powerful. And now the Undeads aren't far behind in terms of powerful heroes, but I still favour those human heroes far more. So really, whilst Granty and Hector did a great job there, basically fending off that attack, defending at the expo, they kind of need to go before a super heavy counter is produced. For Destros and tanks and gyros do a pretty damn good job of countering Destros. And especially if those gyros can hit that critical mass, because the Destros will basically kite the gyros a little bit, try to stay out of the tank range. So Albert's got to be careful. He wants to keep those gyros underneath the tanks at all time, because he doesn't want the Destroyers picking them off and getting them low numbered enough so that he can't really do much with them. He hasn't got an option though. He's sitting at 51 food here, although he's not mining, so it's not really an issue. So he cannot get any more gyros. That's a shame. It gives them a chance though. Granty's got a healthy number of there's a huge amount of Destroyers. The shame is that they aren't upgraded. If they were upgraded, this would really give them a good chance. Attack going down here on the expansion. There's not even much left, so they could actually just concentrate on defending an expansion of their own, and then basically winning the game that way if they really wanted to. But we'll see. I assume there's going to be a response to defend this. But if the tanks get in there, it's going to make it very difficult, because you've got to fight underneath the tanks. The tanks are already getting themselves into position now, so even if they TP up here, tanks just move straight left. Oh no, he's going to unsummon it instead. And they're going to choose to go for an expansion that has no gold mine left. So they're kind of getting bored at this point. They're not sure what to do with themselves, and this is not it. Go for the main. Really, they need to... I guess they don't want to fight either, so this is a tricky spot to be in. They need to get an expansion. This is Granty and Hector need to get an expansion at like one of the corner spots and harass. If they have a straight up fight, it may not go too well for them, because there's at least one group of gyros and the tanks that are quite nicely upgraded. Get those water elementals going down, Albert. Keep spamming them. Although I know, obviously, the water elementals can be absorbed by the Destroyer. Sometimes it's still nice to put it down and try to spread the water elementals out, because sometimes the Destroyers won't be able to pick them all off. But that is a lot of Destroyers. Oh, there's going to be a TP here. This could cost them the game, because only one player might be able to TP in time. There's not going to be another turn for TP. That is going to definitely... Oh, that was very fortunate to get a TP in at that time. That could have definitely cost them there. Oh, those gyros are going to town on those Destroyers. They're not in a comfortable spot. Oh, they're getting absolutely obliterated. That couldn't have gone worse for those Destroyers right there. The tanks aren't even in use. Basically flanked. They're stuck here at the back. They can't run from this. There's lots of powerful human heroes. We're going to see some heals in that avatar, I assume. At least if he goes down, he's going to blow as much mana as he can. He's got 250 mana. Throw down those storm bolts. Oh, there should be a storm bolt right now. Should be a storm bolt right now. Should be a storm bolt right now. Throw it down. There we go. Another 7 seconds. I want to see another Storm Bolt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Okay. Yes. It is done. This is longer than the last game, I think. Blimey, these games are really freaking long, and these are just like the starting games. What on earth is going on here? So Hector, yeah, Hector and Granty are forced to leave, and they should be out of the tournament, I believe. I'm not exactly sure how it's working. We haven't got brackets or anything like that. Is that Banish or Invisible Potion? That's Invisible Potion. I was going to say, that's a funny looking Banish. Oh, a little cheeky there. Is there going to be Divine Shield? No. Level 5 Death Knight. You can start throwing down the coils and win the game. Done. Albert's now at the top here, abusing his mass teleport. Probably defended against the ghoul, I assume. That was attacking, maybe. I'm not sure. He's TPing back, though. Potentially going to try and get a Storm Bolt. Oh, Granty's hanging around too long there. He needs to keep running there. Although he's not really got much to lose at this point. And it's done. Job done. There was a moment where they could have come back, but they needed to attack once they defended this expansion. I'm not saying it would have been easy, but that's what they needed to do. Because human can hard counter undead pretty easily, especially with workshop units. So it gave them time. If Albert was completely out of resources and couldn't get those gyros, they wouldn't need to attack. But he got those gyros, and they just made those destroyers absolutely useless at the end there. Look at those human heroes. 754, 633. Just too much to handle. Definitely too much to handle there. And a huge chunk of cash there. Definitely a lot more cash for Albert and 01. Yep. Well, there it is. Okay, thank you. And we'll keep this going. On to the next game, I assume. Okay, welcome back. We're here now with the sort of decider of the first stage, as it were. The first group, Anubis and Dark, who's probably there. Yes, he is. First is 01 and Albert. So is it double human at the top again? I assume there isn't some sort of strategy. They played pretty standard before, and they just played reactively as to how the game played out. There was no specific tower rush strategy or tier 2 rush. It's just playing it how it rolls. So Albert's going to be doing the Goblin Laboratory, and we can look forward to see what item drops for all of these players. Dark Destroyer's got the human as well, and he goes for a later altar each time. I'm not sure why that is. I'm sure there's method in the madness. Anubis is the odd one out. Selected Orc, not undead. So maybe he wants to focus on casters and melee and be a bit of a tank, as it were, a tank support. Archmage almost out for Albert. Mountain King just started, so the same deal for 01, going for the Mountain King first. Dark Destroyer's yet to even get the hero out, and Anubis with his Blade Master is almost halfway through. It's going to be odd. This is the first time I've seen Orc in a while. What's the deal with that? And Albert trying to get that barracks done so he can start getting a footman out. The Archmage is ready to go. Water Elemental Ho. 3, 6 peasants turning into militia. He doesn't like the sheep. Spits on the sheep. That's like a mana move there. So I guess a water elemental on top of the sheep corpse. I'm sure there's some sort of bad mana turn for that. That's a bad spot for Mr. Militia there. You need to attack your own units to stop it from dying if it's stuck like that. But never mind. Rock Golem. Oh, this is going much worse for Albert this time than last time. I'm not sure why. Positions can basically change everything, and that's what's happened. Is the water elemental's done no tanking. I tested this a bit earlier actually. He's belt of giant strength as well. Better than the boost of agility at least, because it gives your Archmage a bit more chance to survive against hero nukes. But yeah, that went really awful for him. He can't even finish this off very comfortably. That's very funny. Very funny indeed. I'm quite happy about that. Oh dear. Right, okay, Dark Destroyer's turn. He's gonna...
A player's forces
has he
are
got
under
any militia?
attack.
Yes, he has got militia. Come in. And did 01 do the orange spot? He didn't. He's going straight for an early expansion, which is kind of an interesting move. Maybe better. If you can get the expansion, then go for it. Yep, I know exactly what happened there. The water elemental didn't tank, it got ensnared, so basically the creeps then ignore it and treat it as though it's not a threat, and then go for the nearest things, which are those militia, which don't have much health. So yeah, that went about as bad as it can do, and looks like Anubis has spotted this expansion, so this is the worst case scenario for 01 right here. So he did not want this. I didn't know where Anubis's Blade Master was. Don't let him get the agility. Pick it up when you see it, for God's sake. Gotta pick up items quicker. It's not the first time he's done that. Gotta pick it up. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see an item, you pick it up. Especially if there's no one else there to consider if they can use the item as well. Anubis trying to steal all the experience. He's done a fairly good job there. He's not going to be in too much trouble unless that was a super amazing surround, which it wasn't. Here we go. Albert's got a footman here just guarding outside Anubis's main. Well, they are enemies, you got to remember that. So he's just kind of keeping it there just to sort of see what's going on. Maybe when the tech's going to finish, I'm not sure. Dark Destroyer's moving here for a potential expansion. There's no militia being produced at this point, so maybe he's just clearing it. 0-1, 0-0-1, 1-0-0-1, 1-0-0-1. Concentrating on his macro there, but the Man King just needs to auto attack into this whilst you're doing your macro. That way you can handle it. Warcraft 3 is quite forgiving like that. Don't have to worry too much about macro and micro at the same time. That's a very walled in base. I'm almost imagining someone TPing in there and the hero getting stuck at some point. Footman has found a purpose in life, not just to observe. He's getting bored. He's like, oh, why do I have to be the footman that stands here and waits for the orc to tech to tier 2? I want to be doing something. So he's screwing the economy a little bit there. Anubis is annoyed. Doesn't look like Albert's going to get creep jacked here. I don't see Anubis, although it's harder because Anubis has got the brown colour. The brown and dark green colours are the cheat colours. They basically blend into the maps a hell of a lot more than any other colour. And yes, you can use team colours, but if you don't like using team colours like myself, then it screws you over because it really puts me off using team colours. Militia moving in for that expansion later on for Dark Destroyers at the bottom there. Mountain King Flute of Accuracy could be potentially very useful for human if they go mass rifles or griffins. Well, even morts, you know. A lot of workshop units could benefit from that potentially. So they've got this expansion at the top here. Seems like it's alright. Arcane Tower's about to be finished, so even if Anubis wants to pester it, he's not going to be able to do it too successfully.
Player's forces are under attack.
One more militia making his way somewhere. Is it just one extra? Yeah. Now an expansion being placed down for Dark Destroyers. Albert and 01 now going their separate ways after clearing that expansion. Both sitting at level 3, so they're pretty powerful. Albert level 3.5. Mountain King level 3.25 as it were. 3.25 if you want to say that. Do it how you like. Anubis now making use of his tier 2 tech. He's going for the bestiary and the casters. So he's playing pretty standard orc shizzle here, which is a good move because you need that. But this is a bad spot for him to be in because Albert and 01 are now coming in for some sort of tier 2 attack themselves. They've hit the tier 2, but they're going for a pressure. A grunt is just spazzing about at the back here. If no Stormbolt is being used, they don't have to worry about even chasing it that hard. They should just keep moving. Don't get distracted by just one grunt. And if you are going to get distracted by one grunt, make sure you finish it off. There we go. Dark Destroyer's clearing this up. Pick that up. Pick it up. And they're going to press on. Panda could be very useful here. Nice little second hero. He's certainly useful in a lot of ways. Plus he could also benefit from the Belt of Giant Strength. That's always something you want to consider, is that can sway which hero you're going to go. Oh, that Blade Master is about to get screwed. Yep, saw that one coming. That was very unfortunate. The bash went off there. That is not what you want at the start of your fight. Oh dear, we've got some real strength here. I really heard the belch there that time for that breath of fire. That was really loud that time. It's not always that loud. So we got lots of footies all over the frickin' place. Dark Destroyers doesn't have as many footies as 0-1, but 0-1's getting a bit of surround here on the Mountain King, but it's probably going to be able to sneak out of this surround, maybe. Yes, he can, now that he's moved his own units. Albert's now being pressured by Anubis, but he's still fine. Just needs to keep the Archmage out of too much trouble, and they should be fine. Go ahead and win, basically, because there's just too much damage done here from Albert and, 0-1. Moving back those footies because we don't want them anymore. They're not worth it. Not worth the risk. It's not really an easy base to bring down. Dark Destroyer's still got plenty of Water Elementals defending off here. He's even got quite a huge chunk of mana, so he can keep pumping out those level 3 Water Elementals to buy as much time as possible. But Anubis hasn't really got much DPS here. That's the problem with Orc. You haven't got the Blade Master out, and you got the standard Orc units. They're very supportive and very useful, but they're not really big damage dealers. But the Blade Master is back, so it probably means that Albert and 0-1 are going to have to get back. I don't think they're going to be able to stand here very long. No, so they actually fended that off. They didn't lose any buildings. Expansion, I don't know. I mean, experience, they probably did quite well on that. But Anubis being the Orc can benefit. That's a speedy Mountain King, if ever I saw. But I'd say that they didn't do too bad. Almost level 4 Archmage, Mountain King almost level 4. Blade Master still low level 2. And level 4 Archmage actually. So Dark Destroyers is doing alright. He's also got the second hero. This might backfire on Anubis by the looks of it. Chasing a bit too hard, methinks. Very hard indeed. Definitely did not need to push ahead too hard there. The Blade Master is going to try and TP out. This might backfire. He got a bit lucky there. That was a risky move. I probably would have just gone for Windwalk myself. Because if that Mountain King got a bash proc, that would have been it. GG for the Blade Master. Got double Arcane Sanctums pumping out Spell Breakers and Priests for Alberts. And, well, that's a nice expansion. No one's going to want to try and kill that anytime soon. 0-1 probably going. They're both going down the similar path as last time. Not exactly the same paths, but similar paths. 0-1 at least. Very little on the wood. Needs to get that shredder that he loves so much. And that way he can make the most out of those workshops. Dark Destroyer's got a farm here, can see all. That's very nice. He's got a Zeppelin. Is he going to try to take a corner expansion? That's going to be very hard if he does. I assume he's going for some sort of harass here. Yes, harass indeed. I like it. Make it work. Just be careful with those items. Although I know why. That's okay, because Anubis is on his team. So if anyone's going to pick him up, it's going to be the Blade Master most likely. Ooh, potential here to bring down Alberts. I mean, they've got a good bit of mana here, but there's not going to be too many more disenchants. It looks like Anubis is going to be on his own, which leaves Dark Destroyers forced to TP in here and try and defend versus this. This time Albert and 0-1 are back with a vengeance, and they've got the Priest Casters, they've got the Spell Breakers, so they're going to be able to sit in this fight a little bit longer than they could last time. So I don't think there's really much that Anubis... Oh, no, it just doesn't look good at all. Anubis and Dark Destroyers here just not able to fend this off. Really, the Mountain King's just sitting there, level 4, all healed up. He's still got a couple of Storm Bolts in him. Panda still hasn't died yet, despite there being a fair bit of focus, but no kill on him, so they couldn't capitalise on that. And it's just getting worse and worse. Shadow Hunter going down. I just hear a lot of things dying now. We're getting to that point. Those priests and that. Spell Breakers are stealing the Spirit Link. You want to try and use Spirit Link, but at the same time you can't really use them versus Spell Breakers because they just steal it and use it for their own evil doings. So yeah, it kind of backfires. You only really want to be using those Spirit Walkers for disenchant versus the Water Elementals and any other various buffs. This is just too much now. Dark Destroyer's in an awkward spot there, but the Archmage is kind of beefy there. It must be that Ring of Protection plus 3 that just kept him going. he can sneak away. But the Spellbreakers are just sitting there, rifles at the back. Yeah, they got a good mix here from Albert and 01. They can do quite well at just sitting here, whilst they can't press too hard because of the towers and just the annoyance of the base layout. They can sit here for a good while on the outskirts, doing damage, picking things off as they appear. Blade Master, no mana for a Windwalk, so he's got to be careful because as soon as the focus switches to him, he's going down. That is a powerful Stormbolt. That's level 3 Stormbolt right there. He went down freaking quick. Was there lag? Oh, that's lag. There was lag. Lag. Dark Destroyers, still got more Spellbreakers at the base. He's got his expansion. Albert's got expansion. Expansion for 01. Ooh my. This is pretty much just a matter of waiting it out. Especially the mortars are going to make it a bit easier. They're going for the burrow. They're just putting extra threat here on the towers. Anything that stops them from pressing ahead with their units. In fact, they're still going to go in here being lured by the tempting Archmage here. Is he going to run away? Is there another Stormbolt? There is indeed. That's going to hurt a lot. That is going to hurt a lot. I didn't think it necessarily get a kill, but... Or not a straight up kill just from the Stormbolt itself. They could just stand here and attack these freaking towers now. Those are going to go down. Once you've got a decent chunk of units that can easily focus fire at the towers, they can do it. So just use those rifles. Bring down those towers. They go down very, very quickly. Blade Master desperately trying to come back. Dark Destroyer's TPing in here with another response. Is it going to be Militia? No, it's not. There's nothing he can do, poor guy. He's just got to do what he's got to do. The only way he could probably win this is if he went for like, took every expansion that he possibly could and tried to solo it, harass, take corner expansions, and just get lots of kills without having a straight up fight. But yeah. Yeah, this is pretty much definitely over. There we go. Alrighty then. Okay. Alright, let's see what's next then, shall we? Hello, welcome to Semifinals. There's another Semifinals being played, but this time it's Bomb and Dicky, both random. Well, this is all random. Bomb and Dicky are random on Twisted Meadows versus Anubis and Dark Destroyers. So let's have a look at the choices. Is that Night Elf at the top left? It's hard to say because of the cheek colour, dark green. You can't even freaking see it. Look at it. Look at all the other colours, and then look at that up there. What the hell was that? Seriously. So we got Night Elf for Dark Destroyers. No Tavern Hero for him. Anubis, pretty comfortable with his undead, so that's a good race for him. Bomb with Orc, and undead for Dicky. Fiend style. It's doing it without the altar. Oh, so it's going to be 3 ghouls, is it? Dark Destroyer, that's a good spot. Ancient of War can creep this and then can eat through the trees and move on to the, well, a very handy rock golem spot over here that could potentially drop some nice items. Because it's very hard to fight rock golems generally very early on, even later on in the game, but early on it's a pain to fight those. So, up at the top right, Dicky's not being fed, he's just got a lot of buildings going up. It almost looks like he's being fed, doesn't it? But that's still standard build, I believe. Maybe being fed. I better keep an eye on that, actually. Because Bomb's not obviously got much, but at the same time, I don't think he's been feeding. May have given like 100 gold or 200 gold, because Dicky's coming along quite nicely there. Anubis. Is that Tomb of Relics I see? It is. Death Knight will follow shortly when the cigarette has finished. Dark Destroyers is going to be pretty committed to this Ancient of War over here. And he's going to go straight for the orange spot here, which I suppose if he could do it and get away with it, then go for it. Because I have not seen it done very often. And by very often I mean basically not seen it really much at all. Probably like once or twice. And that was a while ago. He's scouting away, which is a really good move to make as well, just to make sure you're not getting screwed over. He's not got much in his main. Hunter's Halls, so we're going to probably see... Well, he can also buy mercenaries So that's going to be very useful. He's waiting for the right time to strike, which is another smart move from Dark here. It's very easy to get a bit carried away and then accidentally aggro, and then your Ancient of War basically won't stand a chance and you can't defend it in time, and it's GG. Warden, I'm going to be interested to see how that pays off. That's either going to go really bad or really well. The Warden's either going to just get slaughtered and nuked all game, or it's just going to do really well. Let's see. We're going to see a Shadow Troll Priest, I imagine, being taken. If not, then I'll be a little surprised, but not really the biggest deal. You don't have to make it. 20 out of 20, that's why. Definitely needs another Moonwell down, but can't do that just yet. Anubis can join here if he wants, but he can go on his own way. Oh, I do hear a wind walk. Where the hell is it? Is he over here? Where the hell was that wind walk? Ah, he went down here. I see. Right. It's hard to say because of that dark green colours. Like I say, it's pretty much can't even tell where he is. Luckily, Dark Destroyers has got all these wisps pretty well covered here with the Moonwell Huntress Hall, Hunter's Hall. Well, I may as well call it Huntress Hall because that's what you're probably going to make once you've got it. And the Ancient of War is going to finish off this creep camp quite nicely. And Berserkers are worth buying. If you want to get one of those, I'm not going to have a go at you for doing so. Do it. Get the Berserker quick before he does. And he's not going to be able to kill that Ancient of War. He's going to go for the Wisps though. And as long as Dark Destroyers moves those back, should be able to save them. Might have to detonate one. Does so. Nice move. The other Wisp is stepping back in. He's waiting to get attacked here. I want to see a Berserker be built. Anubis is coming in. He's got a dust of appearance so he can spot the Blade Master. The Blade Master is going to heal up and take a Clarity Pot. Meanwhile, we've got Dickie dicking about at the back, at the top. He's got a comfortable amount of fiends. The tech's going away. Bomb's almost at tier 2. Not just yet though. Anubis now taking this creep camp here. Not particularly any good items whatsoever. There's going to be a tome that'll drop from that Troll Trapper, so we'll see what it is going to be. If it's a tome of experience, that could be pretty heavy. Or no, it's a tome of strength, which is pretty useless to be honest, because obviously Death Knight can use it, but you don't really care too much about pumping up or making the Death Knight powerful, because you don't really want him in many fights, not in close combat, because he can easily be switched to from the enemy and they can take him down. Oh, Lionheart Stormwind. Well, that's a buff that they can't get because they haven't got a human, so it's not terrible. We'll see how that works out for them. Ancient of Wonders. It's got a nice little layout here, Dark Destroyers. I quite like it, really. Moonwell's coming around here. There's no units for him, so he's pushing his luck. He did go for the Troll Berserker, which is great, but down goes one of the fiends. There's a little bit of focus on Dickie's Death Knight. If he could bring it down, then this would basically work out really well for them, but generally that Death Knight's probably going to run away, which then means that they're going to lose quite a few units and almost get nothing for it. Oh no. Anubis in a real bad spot here. You just can't really do much against the Blade Master. He's just chasing them down with the boost of speed, not to mention the other units following behind. Ancient of Law, yes, the double Ancient of Law. Tier 2 in a short while for Anubis, but Dickie is sitting at tier 2. Just needs to get the resources in order to spend on probably Slaughterhouse, I imagine. Bomb, going Beastery and Spirit Lodge, so pretty standard Orc stuff there.
A player's forces are under attack.
That's pretty funny comments. Anyway, back to the game. We've got a scroll of speed here from Dickie, just in case he gets into trouble, but he's probably not going to. But it's a nice scroll. It's nice to have scroll of speed. Dark Destroyers keeping up the scout. I like it. Despite losing the Wisp, it's going to give him information at least as to what's going on, and it's probably worth it. Is that Fiend? Nope. He's fine. He's getting a coil. He's fine. A level 3 Death Knight's a level 2 coil going down on that Fiend, probably once again. He can comfortably tank that for quite a while. Oh, the Warden is in here doing a little bit of harass on Dickie's Acolytes. Dickie might lose the Fiend because he's concentrating up here. This is the harsh thing. That was some good time in there from Warden. Attack and blinks out.
Players' forces are under attack.
Does the Acolyte die? One more tick? No, because of the health regeneration from the Blight is going to keep the Acolyte alive. Oh no. Oh god. That is pretty cheeky. That is pretty cheeky indeed. Jeez. That's like 4 times health regeneration on Blight or something like that. So yeah, pretty good for that Acolyte, that's for sure. What's Golem going to drop? Wand of Mana Stealing can be useful. Mantle of Intelligence, less useful. I'm not a fan of Wand of Stealing, but I suppose in 1 versus 1 scenarios and such you can use it really effectively because you can deny your opponent mana and give yourself mana, which can tide the turn the tide of battle. Sobi Mask, now that's much better. We'll take a Sobi Mask. That on a Lich or a Death Knight is going to be very good. Bears, Adept, Tier 3, starting to tech. Anubis is going to see what item drops from Mr. Rock Golem. I like seeing what it's going to be. Sobi Mask, so Anubis gets his own one. Or it could go to the Warden, either way. But the Warden, if she takes it, probably better for her to take it when she gets a bit more powerful. Even then, I still think it probably belongs in the Death Knight, because you can always throw it on the Orc, at least. But the Warden, if she's in a position to actually be aggressive and harass a lot, and is pretty powerful, got decent Shadow Strike damage there, you know, Sobi Mask could be very good there. Tree of Life going down for Dark Destroyers. No other expansions for any other players, but Dark Destroyers is about to lose that expansion because they're all going there. So unlucky, unless Anubis can maybe pick off a unit here or something. Dark Destroyers hasn't really got an army to help fight, so they basically want to avoid this, and this isn't going to go well because Ensnare's going to go down, so Anubis essentially has to TP out. Yep, he has no choice. That's costing 350 gold. It's very unfortunate. It's kind of like you want to do something about it, but at the same time you just can't sit there and fight because you're just going to lose even harder. We need these bears. We need this tier 3 halfway through. It might be too late by then, though. It looks very harsh indeed. I didn't catch what these guys have seen, if they saw anything. Wispy Wisp, apparently. Oh, the poor Warden. Not going to last long, even with rejuvenation. There's going to be too much focus fire there. Oh dear. Just has to use a TP just to keep alive. The Blade Master might be able to... No, he can't win walking just yet, but he's guessing that the Warden's going to be up there. She decides to blink up at the top there just to try and give herself a little bit of a chance to sort of avoid the Blade Master from insta-gibbing. But there's too much damage done. The tech is almost down for Night Elf, but the bears cannot be utilised. Even then they would have to research. Lag. I'm not sure what this is. I think it's a bit hard to ask sometimes in these situations. Mouse battery. It's down for the count, apparently. Not sure if those two fellas are on Skype or anything like that. Otherwise, Dark Destroyers is very perceptive and can tell what exactly is wrong with his ally at all times, in-game and in real life. So, what can we tell from this scenario? We can see the statues at the back are going to keep them going. Keep them strong. Dickie's got a powerful Death Knight. Soon to be level 4. Lord Malderzar. What's up with that? There's still statues for Anubis though, and Fiend's in a comfortable position, sort of backed behind the Ancients of Lore. Dickie's on 858 gold. Can I click on anyone else? No, I cannot, so I can't scout that. Spirit Walker is going to keep these guys going, although the Dryads can dispel it, but it's kind of costly for the Dryads to get rid of Spirit Link. Certainly not very efficient for them. Spell Breakers are much better for that, but you can't get Spell Breakers when you're Night Elf, so that's a bit of a tricky place to be. A lot of love going on in the comments. You can read that whilst I rest my voice. All I can say is that there's pretty much no way for Dark and Anubis to win. Because those bears, they just needed like another minute. Because the bears didn't stand a chance. And even if he wanted to get the research, which he's probably working on right now, or he has to, those Ancients of Law are kind of just sitting there waiting to be attacked. And even then the bears are going to have to take ages to come out. So it's a really bad spot to be. It's essentially the only thing that's going to keep him in the game or make all that tech and research worthwhile. Oh, they're actually pushing back here though. So they're running away. I'm not sure if that's necessarily the right move, or maybe they should have kept the pressure because it's actually Dryads coming out instead of bears. So they're pulling back a little bit, maybe trying to get a different position. Few ensnares are going to guarantee a few Dryad kills. And this just looks very, very difficult to handle. There's no way they can handle this, to be honest. So 50 food, 47 food for the top team, 26 food, and 39 food for the bottom team. It's not good. Spirit Link makes it very difficult to actually nuke anything that belongs to Dicky or Bum. And Anubis is forced to TP. TP'd back home, which leaves his base now basically pretty darn vulnerable, with only a few Dryads and a statue that got left behind to defend. There's not really much one can do, apart from probably throw down the GG in a moment. Dicky doesn't care about those statues. They're giving it to the Moonwell. He TP's back. Orb of Corruption time, but the Lich is going to go down so darn quickly. Oh, maybe not. Not just yet. Now it does. Okay. There's just no way you can fight versus this. Clearly no way to stand a chance. Good effort trying to bring down the Blade Master, but he's not going down anytime soon. Frost Armor even on the Blade Master as well to give him more of a chance. Dicky and Bomb backing off a little bit. We'll leave this base alive, but the damage is already done. Dark has a lot of resources, so unless he's putting his Ancients down here trying to hide them so he can maybe go back to bears, but he could always feed heavily to Anubis that could then go mass Frostworms or something. Gets the cancel. Bomb now putting pressure on the Tome of Relics. Lich popping out at a somewhat unfortunate time. It's fortunate enough that it isn't being focused down. The Tome of Relics isn't going to last much longer. And there's the TP. Dicky's now going to have to back off, because he's not going to want to stick around for a 1 versus 2, I wouldn't have thought. Slow down the Lich would be good. Going for the Fiend instead, that's still fine. And Bomb's going to get himself sort of healed up and clarityed up, and then he's going to rejoin his ally as soon as possible, I imagine. Dicky got a lot of resources to sit on. Down goes the Fiend. Ooh, quite a lot of resources for Darkers still. Anubis is sitting on very little cash at the moment. Bomb's moving down. to the middle to rejoin with Dicky now. And Anubis is looking for an opportunity to maybe get another item or two, something to do whilst he's waiting, basically, because he knows something's going to happen. Oh, what the hell? The hell was that?
Players' forces are under attack.
What the hell was that? It's like ensnared nothing. It's the ensnare on the wall when she blinked or something like that. So the ensnare kind of lasted there for a moment and then went away. So he's had to TP back to his main. He's going to soak up the moon wells and then TP back to Anubis, I assume, because this is a one hell of a full-on attack. It's an undead base though. Need to try and hotkey your Black Citadel along with your towers, so that way you can use the Black Citadel to target things such as the healing ward, since the towers won't be able to reach that healing ward, but the Black Citadel can. Can't even repair in time. I'm not even sure. Dark Destroyers is actually coming in from the right, but it's not really a great spot regardless. Yeah, DK's doing quite well for himself. He's got a lot of support items there. Oh, where's that coil going? There's another freaking blink messing up all the spells in this game. The coil went right off to the top right of the screen. That looked really weird. Ah, the bear. The bears! Not going to last for much longer. And down goes the Warden. Dicky and Bomb sitting on a comfortable advantage at this point. Anubis and Dark pretty much struggling to stay alive at this point. There's just not really much they can do. It's just a matter of time. Tauren even into the fray, so it's going to be hard to bring those buggers down. Lots of fiends for the sexy DPS of 3-1 upgrades. Bomb going for armor upgrades, only one, but still focusing on that. Warden being reproduced, but I don't. There's no. I mean, obviously, from an observer point of view, you can get a greater grasp of what's actually happening, but there's no way they can stand a chance here. Yeah, the GG's being thrown down, and there it is. Okay, come out of that and go back in because it suit well with me. Right, this is part 2 of the semi-finals between Dicky and... no, he's down here. Bomb versus Dark and Anubis. So Anubis and Dark both getting human. Dicky in the human and Bomb with the Night Elf. Let's see how that switches things up. Wisp is coming up to the top for a bit of the old scout. He'll see the human. He'll know what's up. Doesn't look like a build specifically for fast creeping the Goblin Lab, and to be honest, this would be one of the hardest spots to do it on because Night Elf can get their heroes out quite quickly. They tend to be harassed heroes like Warden, or any hero that the Night Elf builds is pretty good for harassing, so that's the shortest amount of space that a hero has to travel to get to a Goblin Laboratory that is being crept out by a human. So that's a pretty good spot for Bomb right there. Anubis still doing the barracks. They're both going barracks. I assume Archmage for both, but we'll keep an eye on it. Looks like Dicky went for the faster Archmage build, so I assume that he is also doing the build for fast creeping the Goblin Lab. Footy. These pings put me off a little bit. I'm like, what's going on? What have I missed? And it's just a militia moving about. Dark's militia. So Archmage, we'll keep... Is that hero out already? It is, for Dicky. So where's it gone? Dicky's now using the cheat colour. And Bomb's got the other cheat colour. Dark green and brown. Where the hell did it go? I can't even frickin' find it. Even if you set to ally color mode, it puts them both as brown. So either it's dark green or dark brown, it's never going to be good anyway. Cheat. Well, there's a neutral hero for Bomb, Panda, but I still haven't found out where Dicky's hero's gone. Still don't know where that bugger's gone. Bombs moving straight in there for harass on the peasants. None of the towers are up yet. Anubis has now got him trapped. Dickie's also in on the action, so they're going double panda here. This could be pretty damn effective. Definitely needs to move those peasants to the right hand side, bring these guys in onto the gold mine and just deal with it. Because the mana is going to go down. There's still enough there for another couple of breaths. Yeah, not too good. There's going to be a lot of kills here. The panda with another breath of fire is still going to be the one that lasts the longest. And one more breath of fire. Down he goes, but he's too fat to get out. So, that was definitely a successful attack. I don't know whether it's worth TPing out, though. I'm not sure. Because level 1 heroes come back very quickly. 35 seconds is all you've got to wait. Whereas how long is it going to take him to get back to full health? Because he's already used all of his mana, so... He's now got to fast build this, which is going to cost him more resources. He's got to wait for that. The hero will probably be about halfway done now. The only reason why you should TP, to be honest, is to deny your opponent experience, which I suppose is a fair enough argument. Panda's coming back, he wants some more. So maybe that's also another reason, is if you want to keep up the harass and you don't want any time down. But he's not going to get that much from it. He'll do okay, but it's really up to Anubis to move those peasants out, really, and deny Bomb any sort of free experience. Let's go for a bit of surround there. There's no more TP available for Bomb, so he's looking for an opportunity to sneak out here, but Anubis is kind of giving him an opportunity there. That's very harsh. This looks pretty harsh indeed. That's got to be quite depressing right there. So you're going to have to pull back those militia before they get breath of fire anymore. And Dark is going for a creep on this side. There's no more mana. Well, there is actually. Dickie's got a bit more mana, but he's not in a comfortable spot to really go into the humans' main base. Dark didn't decide to creep that spot. He's going for a fast expand maybe instead. I'm not sure. So Bomb chose to make quite a lot of 3 Ancient of War and 2 Ancients of Wind. So Hippo Riders, I assume. Otherwise he's just covering his bases and going for tier 1 Night Elf. Anubis needs to take off formation movement as well, because that's slowing down his Archmage. Does look like Dark was going for an expansion at the top, or he's at least clearing it, but he's not taking militia up there. Anubis raging. So how about out of it? That's pretty funny. Well, there you go. There's a little bit of pre-tournament info. It's because the other games are going on at the moment. So it looks like Aurelius and Brad should be in the final then, I assume, by that, him saying that he's out. So if Bomb and Dickie win, then it's going to be those guys versus... Refresh my memory, sorry. I have a short memory, especially when I'm commentating. Aurelius and Brad. So, oh dear, this doesn't look good. They're moving back in. They've actually got an army pumped up with the pandas as well. So I don't imagine this is going to go too comfortably. Waiting for an opportunity to breath of fire on that tower. There's no way that tower's going to last much longer. It's actually going for the units a little bit. So was that a heavy feed? Dickie's feeding Bomb and making his base basically impenetrable to a degree. And Bomb's got lots of units, but they've still got a decent chunk of footmen, but it's not going to be enough against all these pandas and huntresses and archers. Not really enough. Ah, poor Anubis getting his Archmage stuck there. That's quite funny. Right. There's the hippos. He's going for the expansion at the corner. That's what it is. That's what the hippos are for. So Anubis is deciding to tower up, which makes sense. But it's basically like digging your own grave to some degree. You're just sort of bordering yourself in a corner versus zombies or something like that, as it were.
Players' forces are under attack.
If you imagine zombies, instead of taking like the fire escape, you decide to go into the other room that's like more secure, but there's no exit and no window. That's kind of what feels like's happening at the moment. And they're getting slowly pressured until they're gonna cook and burn. Bomb hitting level 3. Dickie on level 2. Dark, not sure what to do. Lots of towers here, but not enough wood. And Bomb's going straight up. And now he's going left. Killing the Huntress, because he doesn't want that Huntress. He wants something else instead. Or he just doesn't want to give the experience that the Huntress may provide. And that's one dead expansion. That's a lot of resources spent there. And that's all gone. Dark Destroyers does love his Zeppelin, and I like that, but there's pretty much nothing he can do in this situation. He is fighting a very hard uphill battle here. There's those towers, so Anubis is now much harder to kill, so that's good if they do decide to try and pressure Anubis's main, but it's I don't see what they got unless they've got mass mortars or something to slice through the Night Elf units. It's tricky. Tricky indeed. There's an Archmage spotted out. He does manage to sneak out. Yeah, he's still going to sneak out. The Drunken Haze isn't enough. Not a level 1 to slow down the Archmage to the point that he's just going to get picked off. Dark Destroyer's going to bring in these units here. First is Dickie. Pretty good move there. But he wants to keep that Zeppelin back slightly just so it doesn't get attacked by towers, because you need that. He has got a TP to get out. He could even put down ivory towers here. But I think they're going to be defending instead. Oh, there's all of those Hippo Riders. There's too much to fight versus just the Huntresses at the bottom. Hippo Riders is pretty much... I mean, yeah, you could take this base as return, but I'm not sure how well that's really going to pay off in the long run. So sacrifice your own base and get another one over here. But he also needs the peasants over here, so it's not really enough. But it's a nice try from Dark there, but it's not enough. But if Anubis can't solve their problems, he's going to get more towers to sort it out. Night Elf don't like towers very much, I will admit to that, but I don't think all those towers are really going to stop a Night Elf if they really want to push. Heck, they could even go for shims. There's tier 3 there, the Ancient of Wind is down, so that's not a problem at all. Panda, plenty of Hippo Riders now. Not many research upgrades because it's tricky with the Night Elf if you go on Hippo Riders. He's TPing over here because the main is still alive, so he's actually going to get to keep this main. The guard towers are there, but Dark Destroyers forced back because even with those towers he's not really going to stand a chance. Hippo Rider Focus is going to do a good job of picking those towers off. Anubis now escaping after leaving his summons behind to cover himself, even picking off a Huntress because all of these units, these summons do extra damage to Huntresses, so it's actually quite DPS, good DPS here from the Quill Beast. Huntress now forced to use the Shadow Meld because of the nighttime proccing and more towers. What was that got cancelled? Blacksmith. A re-expand at the top right is a logical choice. You pretty much need an expansion, although Bomb and Dickie don't have an expansion, but they do have a vastly superior army. Although Dickie did lose a fair bit resource-wise, Bomb's still sitting very comfortably with very powerful heroes. Dickie needs to catch up. He's probably going to nab level 3, and there's a Time of Experience, which then edges Bomb to level 5. That's pretty GG right there. Time of GG indeed. Level 5 Panda. Level 3 Breath of Fire, level 2 Drunken Haze, or vice versa, whichever way you want to play it, but I assume Breath of Fire. It's going to be too much, and these towers aren't going to stand much of a chance against the Breath of Fire. Boom. It's quite nice. Then you step in, boom, and then they're going to go again and again and again. Or they're going to go straight top right and go for this expansion. That's pretty unfortunate for Dart Destroyers. He's just not meant to have this expansion, is he? Just not meant to be.
Forces are under attack.
Dart Destroyers and Anubis clinging on for dear life over here. Panda's not enough to bring it down. Heal that guard tower up. 5 health. Bomb's actually down to 48 food, so I'm not sure where he lost it. I guess the Huntresses dying took him down, which kind of does him a favour because they're not much use at this point. And now he gets full use of his gold mine. But like I say, this is just a situation where they're just waiting to die. The zombies are coming. They're clawing at the door. It's only going to hold for so long. Hippogriff Riders just chilling out, having a nice little flight. But there's not much left to do.
A town is under siege.
Ooh. He's certainly going to get a lot of footmen.
Forces are under attack.
Don't think he's necessarily going to get the Archmage. That Panda's almost level 6. Don't mock Hippo Riders. I used to love Hippo Riders like mad. Old school. Back in the days of Beastmaster and Mass Hippo Riders. Fast tech. Shim's even coming out now. Just to seal the deal versus this very towery base. Bit more experience for Dickie. Maybe another item or 2. Oh, level 6 is guaranteed. I still wouldn't choose ult. Not interested in the Panda ult. It's kind of longer range than it seems, Breath of Fire. Still pretty short though. Certainly ain't Shockwave. There's a better way to do that, is drop one of the Hippo Riders, put down an archer, send the archer into it, takes the damage from the towers and send both Pandas into Breath of Fire. You can afford to lose a Hippo or an archer, just to save more mana on your Panda. It's much more worth it. Level 6 Panda is stuck. There's no TP apparently, but he is very, very strong. No mana. I don't know. Oh, come on Anubis. This is it. You have to bring that Panda down. Oh no, he is going to get out. That would have been really good for them if they actually managed to bring that Panda down, but even then they still lose. They're not going to win. As harsh as that sounds, it is just the case. Remember the zombies. These summons are just kind of feeding experience at this point.
A player's forces are under attack.
Expansions all over the shop, but not for Anubis. No. Not for Dark either. Steam tanks. Nice touch, but there's Hippo Riders are so fast and maneuverable. Not to mention that Pandas are amazingly good against steam tanks. So you're kind of screwed. You're screwed against double Panda in this scenario. Dark, looking for the opportunity to get himself a level 4. Come on, level 4 before the Panda gets you. No, he's running off.
A player's
He's
forces
not hanging
are under
around.
attack.
Oh yes, shims are coming in. Panda's still throwing down breath of fire every now and then. Ah, there we go. There's no arcane tower to basically sway him away. He can stand there and tank for quite a while. Not for eternity, but for long enough. And he's going to actually use the ultimate there, just to keep himself going a little bit.
Players' forces are around as under siege.
Tank's trying to find an opportunity to sway off the shims. They're actually doing a kind of good job, at least, of putting the shims off, but the Panda's slicing through these towers a little bit. Dark moving in from the right hand side, but he's being chased by Hippo Riders just behind him, so there's nothing he can really do. He's going to go down in a moment. There's a healing pot he's trying to get or something, maybe, I don't know, but even then it's still over. Tank gets a few cheeky shots off, and Hippo Rider's still going through. Panda ult still, there he goes, finally over now. He's got to be a bit careful with that Panda. Still a lot of towers there to potentially be a bit of a threat. Dickie's Panda is not stuck. Guarantee the kill. Don't let him out, Anubis. No. No. Oh well, there we go. I think that's it. I think there's a GG there somewhere. Just waiting for it. But we got the complacency kicking in here with the just ridiculous amount of resources. Yeah, badass footman. Peasant with wood on his shoulder, staring out the tree of life, almost mocking the tree of life,
Forces are under attack.
as though to say, you're next. Pandas are still running amok, and those towers are going down. An inevitable conclusion. Nothing can really stop these shims. Even the tanks will have kind of a hard time, to be honest. If the shims really wanted to stand and fight the tanks, they could do. Dickie's had enough. He's like, screw this. I need more footmen to bring down this base. And bombs moving wisps up somewhere. Possibly for another expansion somewhere. Nope. It's a nice touch there with the Zeppelin. Tank drop. Don't see that very often. Panda's going to deny this a little bit though. If he had a few more tanks, that could have probably been enough actually. That's kind of a nice touch. I like that. Good try.
Players' forces are under
Should
attack.
be used more often when you can remember to do that kind of thing. But I think there's slightly more effective sieging going on here from Bomb and his mass shims and Hippo Riders. He's a bit scared of those tanks though. Doesn't need to be that scared. Just focus them down. It's not that hard. Yeah, they do some good damage, but you can just kill them quick enough. Screw it. Especially with the Panda coming in. Down goes the next tank. And that should be it. I can't think of a reason to stay in this game any longer now.
Is under siege.
Especially since you killed that main. It's like, there you go. You've proved your point. Actually did still manage to bring the main down. Footman's still going to town. Needs to take this frickin' movement off. Toggle formation. Look at that wood go down. Is he gonna make it? No. Just slightly short. And now the shims are gonna make short work of this. They say screw it to the tanks. It's done. Oh, now it's over, is it? I didn't realise. Well, there it is. Alrighty then. Panda power. Goo, hello. Welcome to the start of the finals, game 1. So, who's in the finals, you ask? Well, let me tell you. I would do. Be easier if I can have a look, but it should be Aurelius and Brad's, if I remember correctly. First is Bomb and Dicky. I'm pretty sure I'm correct on that, but I tend to forget things almost straight away. So, should be right on that. So it looks like Aurelius. I think they're still doing the whole random thing. And don't mind me whilst I'm just sitting like this, because getting a bit tired now. As you can imagine, I work hard, do all this commentating and that. It takes it out of you. I'll be honest, it's a lot easier to just not commentate. So we've got Aurelius here as the undead, along with, along with Brad's. So their team left, as it were, it's Undead Night Elf. First is Dicky, who's sending off his scout that's going to intercept the Wisp. See that. So Dicky's got himself human, and Bomb has got himself a Night Elf. So that's the same combination. So they might do the double panda thing, but maybe not. That Altar of Elders is pretty early, so I don't think there's an intentional neutral hero there, but it might switch to that. You never know. Graveyard Crypts, all is in order for Aurelius. Brad's might be going down the feed route though soon, unless he's going to do Hunter's Hall or a tech, but nothing particularly special from him at this point. Just Demon Hunter, ready to go out on the prowl and perhaps harass the Goblin Lab, which is where Dicky probably isn't actually going to creep by the looks of it, because he hasn't got himself a barracks, so he might be doing the whole feed thing, because he's got no wood. He's got no gold, so he's obviously feeding. That resources are going down very quickly. So Bomb looks like... No, it is Priestess of the Moon though, so it's not double panda, but there might be a panda from Dicky, because I don't see an Archmage. Nope. I don't see an Archmage. Hunter's Hall is going down. Is that double Ancient of War? I think someone might be suspecting a slight feed, but even then it's not that obvious, because it's not always that uncommon for Night Elf to put down a Hunter's Hall and double Ancient of War. Priestess the Moon. Oh, triple Ancient of War. So here we go again. Demon Hunter heading top right, and Priestess of the Moon coming bottom left. Dicky has his eye on the prize. Did he get the neutral hero? No. He decided not to. He stopped a while ago and decided to swap for Mountain King. I'm not sure what made them change their mind, but it's not necessarily a bad choice. Mountain King could be very useful. Unfortunately for Brads, he's not going to have much opportunity here to do pretty much any real harassing here. Arcane Tower, probably going to stay up, I imagine. Mountain King not long to go. A Stormbolt would be really good if the Arcane Tower is closer.
A player's forces are under attack.
Choosing not to use it, which is an interesting... Only use Stormbolt to stop yourself from getting mana burn, I suppose. So that's not necessarily bad. Okay, so Aurelius going for a creep up here. It's been spotted by Brads. Oh no, it hasn't been spotted by Brads. They're on the same team. I was going to say that Wisp was really on the ball there. So the Wisp is probably going to take the expansion. Here's lots of Huntresses from Bomb. Aurelius. Oh really? Still got plenty of resources. Did he start teching yet? Nope, he spent resources onto a Fiend. So he's still going for the Fiends. Elika the Fiends. Ogre Mage might deny. No, he's going to keep the attention of the Ogre Magi. Prept of Vitality. Not a bad item. Can be useful. Brad's starting to pump out hunts, but he's only got one Ancient of War. Tree of Life, so very early expansion from them. The key here, obviously, is for them to keep that expansion. If that expansion goes down, they are in a lot of trouble. If they get to keep it, then they're in a position where they can actually control the game. Because Night Elf Tier 1 can be kind of easily countered by Mass Fiends. So, yes, it's really up to Bomb and Dicky to find an opportunity to kill an expansion.
Forces are under attack.
And moving up towards the main of the undead. Aurelius has started teching, and he's going to probably lose quite a few acolytes here, unfortunately. Oh dear, that's not a good spot for those acolytes. You might even have to cancel this tech. It's pretty harsh. Definitely needs to move those ASAP. It's pretty tricky for the Hunts to get them though, so at least that's a good little spot. That's worked out kind of nicely, but they're not going to last very long. They need to respond to this though, straight away. Right away, TP. You can't have that going on. Although it is heavy feed, so there's a huge amount of Hunts. Despite them being pretty easily countered by Fiends, there's more Hunts than Fiends, and the Hunts can do pretty damn well. Nothing's happening though here. This is pretty bad. You need to respond to this. Is there no TP? The damage is just kind of crippling, and Aurelius is going ahead with this. He's like, well, I've gone this far, I'm going to keep going. Cigarettes have been researched, but it's kind of too late now because the Hunters are moving back. But Brad's has got a large army. This is essentially going to force an attack here because you have no other choice. They got the expansion, so an attack here would also maintain that expansion and hopefully recover some of the damage that's done here. But there's a lot of damage. That's pretty huge economic damage there. So whilst they got that expansion, they've lost all the mining rights, as it were. So they either creep very hard, all the best spots, probably counter creep if anything, because they should have control on the map, or they go attack. You can't waste your time doing crappy little spots like this one. This is now regarded as a crappy spot in comparison to what they currently have and the situation that they find themselves in. They definitely, what's that doing over there? They definitely want to take only the spots which are held by the mercenary camps or the goblin merchants, and if there's any laboratory spots left, but there probably won't be that many there. See, that many Hunts can be a good and a bad thing. There's not that many Fiends though. Needs to be a bit more of a feed from Brad's maybe to Aurelius, especially to help him get back on his feet, so need to use the resources that way. Tech started for Brad's, but what tech is Bomb up to? He's going up to tier 3, that's 2 Ancients of Wind, so this is an actual specific strat. It's not just really winging it by the looks of it, because it's almost identical to the last time we saw it. And our scout is on its way. Dickie is about to find something called a Night Elf expansion. Let's have a look over here. They're going to put some pressure on Dickie's main. This is a good spot to be. Take down the towers, focus the main, force a TP, cost them 350 gold. They probably won't be able to stand and fight here for very long. They could potentially take down Bomb if they get a really good position, if they back off. Militia coming in though, that's going to make it much harder. Fairly good TP there, kind of aggressive but could backfire. With the militia here helping out though, this is really a spot where you don't want to stand here and fight. Yeah, you definitely need to back off here. Not a good spot. Militia come out, you back off. You go back to a certain point where the militia are either forced to stay and fight, and if they are staying to fight, you just keep backing off ever so slightly so they get pretty much no use out of that militia, or they have to pull them back because it's just too costly on a economically. But that's not done them any favours. They really needed to just go after this huge attack here, and they could have possibly won the game, I think, if they attacked from that point, or just completely counter-jungled and took... counter-jungled, that sounds like League of Legends now. They took every single decent creep camp away from the enemies. There's a lot of Huntresses here, but those Huntresses aren't going to fare too well against Hippo Riders. There's quite a lot of cash actually here for Aurelius. I'm not sure if he got like fed a little bit, but he needs to find a use for that cash. Brad's Ancient of Wonders going down very quickly. These Huntresses are upgraded quite nicely, 2 to 1, and there's basically the same amount of Huntresses versus Brad's, so Brad's is never going to have an advantage in this fight whatsoever, despite being in his own base. It's still going to be very unfortunate for him to stand there and fight. Aurelius looking for an opportunity to get into the fight without getting screwed over. Pretty tricky. It's coming back. The Stormbolt could be a... There is no Stormbolt. The Stormbolt is a lie. They need to commit though. Commit. Commit to the Huntresses. Go. It's too much gold for Aurelius. He needs to get that gold flowing. Onto tech. onto units. Go triple racks, triple crypt, mass fiends. Night Elf can't do too much about that unless they have mass bears, which he's not going to have. But of course they don't know this.
A town is under siege.
Oh, this is a nice little bit of glaive action going on there. Brad's going to find himself getting food capped soon. This is it. Get in those hunts, get those fiends slightly back, focusing firing, and now Bomb knows this, so he's moving back. Level 3, soon to be level 4 Priestess of the Moon. Mountain King not faring so well, but he's still soaked up a little bit of experience. He needs to invest in ghouls, because when you get to this point, you either depend on your ally to give you wood, make of that what you will. You can basically say, screw it, I can't make these 2 fiends because I need to make sure I've got economy going, and the hippo riders have now reared their pretty faces. I wouldn't say ugly faces, they're quite pretty. Yes. And there's no web. There's going to be no web because they probably didn't even expect this to happen. So they might go into the next game being a bit more wary, and I don't know necessarily whether Dicky or Bomb are probably going to do the same strat, not to mention that it's very unlikely, statistically wise, that they would actually get the same combination, because everyone's selecting random. At least I think they are. I'll find out again. I'm pretty sure they are. There's Hippo Riders. That's it. You were much better on the Ancient of Lore.
A player's forces are under
The
attack.
Owl Watches. I see you. Looks like Bomb, whilst hitting the expansion, is also hitting the main, giving him a choice. Is that tier 3 glaives? It almost looks like it. I think that is. That is going down. There's no way he can repair it anyway because he's so low on wood. The expansion is still alive. Problem at this point is
A player's forces are
3,200 gold for Aurelius, because he just doesn't have the wood. Just 6 ghouls, just mass ghouls, just get the wood going. That's too harsh. Hopefully they can learn from this and go into the next game with a lot more experience and do a lot better. But needless to say, this isn't going to be too hard for Bomb to clear this up, really, because level 5 Priestess of the Moon, is that level 3 Aura? Perhaps. It would be, wouldn't it? It wouldn't. I don't think it's going to be level 3 Scout Sentinel. That seems very unlikely. Demon Hunter Run. Not quite level 6 yet. The bears. Okay, so we are going bears now. Just because you can, pretty much. Bears will stick with the mass hippo riders or go back to shims like before, but screw it, get some bears instead. Why not? Because you can. There goes the tech for tier 3 from Aurelius. Still so low on wood. There's no main base for Brad's, and it looks like his expansion is going to go down very shortly afterwards. I think Aurelius has been playing a different game. Right, what have we got? A dead expansion. Pretty much. Not full upgrades yet. Bombs TP in. Doesn't want to get ganked, despite the fact that he could probably stand there and fight. It wouldn't be a fantastic fight for him, but he could probably still take that. The key is to get underneath 3,000 gold, and then you know you're all right. So they're going to try for Banshees here. If they possessed all of the units, then maybe they could turn the game around. But there's too much dawdling going on. You need to be quicker, smoother, have a plan, move out. The moment you're sort of running around aimlessly on the map, it's pretty much the moment you're going to lose the game. You need to have a plan. Obviously it helps if things are going your way. That way when you are moving to a destination it makes more sense. If you're losing the game, it's much harder to move to a destination. Who's that? Is that the Mountain King? Is that Mountain King again? What is he like? Level 1 Mountain King strategy. He's now level 2.
Players' forces are under attack.
Pretty funny. Not. I guess it was random then. Brad's not particularly fond of his random race that he has been given. But needless to say, unless the Mass Fiends are going to turn this around, because like I say, Mass Fiends can be pretty good against all of this, except for the bears. It's looking bad. Let's defend this. Let's do this. Where are those ghouls? No, we still have only 2 ghouls. That's why you don't have any frickin' wood. That's why you can't spend any gold. Gold is useless if you cannot use it. There's a few webs going down, but it's still just not going to be a good fight for Aurelius, even inside of his own main. Bear's looking for a spot to get in, maybe a bit of hero focus here, swapping between the two, invulnerability pop being used, bomb kind of losing a number of units here because it's not that easy to fight in this position, but needless to say, Aurelius is still down and the level 6 has been optimized and it's going to catch out the Demon Hunter right there. I think it's either that or the Hippo Rider. But, I'd say that's definitely a GG right there. Let's go on to the next one. Okay. Twisted Meadows, Game 2 of the final of the GBR 2 vs 2 tournament. Now let's see what the random has provided. Dicky, get those wisps going. That's it, my boy. And bomb, so double night elf feeding night elf. I can only assume they're going to do feeding strategy again since it's been working so well. And Aurelius with his human, and Brad's with the orc, so I think they'll be more comfortable with that combination, but we'll see how the bomb and the dick get on with night elf. Could be bad for them, especially if frag shards might come into play, but we'll see. So neutral hero here from Dicky, but not a neutral hero from Bomb. Is this feed? This looks pretty feed to me. Yes, it does indeed. Pretty feedy feed. Very feed indeed. Farseer. Farseer Tauren Chieftain combo, maybe. Let's go. Blacksmiths or rifles, that's a good choice. That'll work out nicely for you if you can get a decent number of rifles to fight versus the weak, fragile Night Elf units. 2 engines of war this time, not a third one yet, but there might be a third one to go. But like I said earlier, you can pretty much assume these guys are going to be doing the same strategy, and hopefully Brads and Aurelius can detect that as well. They'll see. That peasant would have scouted over here. So the altar being built now, very late. But then again, Dicky doesn't really need to get his hero out anytime soon. Not the biggest rush for it. Wisp denied. Yep. Kill denied though too. Where are you going to go, Mr. Farseer? Are you going to go creep this green spot here? Are you going to look for a potential harass? Or are you going to move left? Good spot there from Brads. Sees the wisp, and the wisp gets to detonate, but that was still a good spot. And there is 3 Ancients of War. Yep. Again, what's the neutral hero going to be from Dicky? We shall see. I like this though. That's good. He's actually managed to get the farm down. He'll probably get killed, but he's got the farm down nonetheless. It's nice to have that. Aurelius getting bullied a little bit with his Archmage. Priestess of the Moon. Let's have a look. Yep, rifles starting to pump out now, so no units just yet really. But they're going for the kill. This is good. This is well done. You've spotted what's happening. You've recognised that feed is happening. And you're going to try to cripple their economy. So, I like that. one of them can just put pressure on the Princess of the Moon, whilst the other one focuses on killing wisps and such and such. That's fine. Don't let yourself get too distracted. That's the key. Dickie's losing quite a few wisps here. Whilst he's doing a good job with those wisps, he's still losing those because he kind of has to. He'll probably throw down another wisp soon when the wolves come out in a second, which they will do. See, this is the problem. The rifle is getting outnumbered by the hunts. So he needs to keep the rifles back and maybe just attack with heroes only. So run that rifle all the way back and just sort of get a mass of rifles. Oh, there's an interesting surround there. If he does the hide there, that will still stop the Archmage from being able to escape. So the Archmage is going to TP here. Not the worst thing in the world. A little premature. Could have possibly got out of that scenario, maybe, but or just let the Archmage die and keep up the harass, because it's not that easy for these guys. But oh, there's a bit of harass going on here. Oh, I see. Fair enough. Yeah, you can TP back if there's that harass going down as well. It'd be lovely you actually get the panda kill, but he's probably going to escape again, as he always seems to do. Just use the unit just to block him a little bit, and that'll be enough. We need a decent chunk of mass rifles. Once you get a critical mass, all those huntresses are going to be kind of useless. They're going to try and get into the fight, but if you have a huge chunk of rifles and they're in a good position, a bit more choke blocked, they can actually do some really nice DPS. Or make those hunts kind of useless and clunky. See, Bomb's not particularly healthy, but because they're both Night Elf, there's the Moonwells. Dickie could invest in a lot of Moonwells himself if he wanted to, but it's all going to Bomb at the moment, who's very healthy on the food cap at the moment. That's one Huntress going down. Troll Trapper says no. And what items are you waiting for? It's like you're waiting for an item there almost. Panda's interested in purchasing from the Goblin Merchant. No, but he does get himself the Sobi Mask. That's going to be pretty darn good. Oh no. Aurelius, your towers have been spotted. That is most unfortunate. Oh dear. Well, they need to go. I think this is the thing though. When there's feed, you need to kind of, although it's much easier to see it from an observer point of view, if we look at it, Dickie's got nothing, right? Apart from the hero. Bomb's going to sit, because he's taken to tier 2, he's probably going to sit logically underneath the 50 food cap. So once you and your ally get like 30 to 40 food, hopefully you should be massing a lot more. Just mass up to 40 to 50 food and then go on the person feeding. There's probably not that much that the enemy team can do. That's a decent chunk, but there needs to be slightly more units. At least they're nearby to handle this harass that's going to go on over here, so Bomb can't do too much damage. And if he can get those burrows lined up and attacking those huntresses whilst he's putting down some pain, that'd be really good. But those huntresses are going to do quite a good job of bringing down the burrow too, but he needs to focus down with those burrows on all those huntresses. Huntresses are in a bit of a bad spot. Meanwhile, I think we've got Aurelius going on an attack on the main, but really he needed to come over here because he can hard counter these huntresses, and then they need to just go. But Brad's is still handling this as well as he can do in this scenario. The burrows are getting a bit carried away. Panda's coming in a little bit to be a nuisance, but I think Brad's is kind of okay. He's certainly gonna, there's certainly gonna be a forced TP here in a moment, but then it's gonna mean that Aurelius is kind of on his own. That was a bit of ownage wisp detonate there. See, this is it. Aurelius actually has a really good counter to these huntresses, but he needs like Brad's grunts to be in front, taking the damage, stopping the rifles from getting killed. So the longer this game goes on, probably the more chance that Bomb's going to win this, Bomb and Dickie. Because they're just losing too many units now at this point. There's not enough coordination, or the correct coordination. And there's a lot of potential units about to go down for free. Oh my, that's a bit harsh. Rifles are still alive somehow. Quite a few of them. More than there should be really alive. But they're not that healthy to fight. There'll be another breath of fire in a moment. Ancients of Law going to town down here.
Are under attack.
Rifles running back, but now we've only got a few rifles. We need that critical mass of rifles to really actually stop those huntresses from being a complete and utter pain. But without that critical mass, you ain't got nothing. And there's not that many resources, nor is there an actual secret expansion for Brads or Aurelius. There just isn't. So Bomb's at this position where he can be cheeky and go straight to tier 3, get mass bears if he wants. He can save up those resources because he's still controlling the game with these huntresses. Oh, this is it. The TP has to make or break it. I wonder if he's going to TP down here. He doesn't. He actually just chooses to TP up here. Works out nicely. Now the huntresses are going to be pretty good against all these units here. Especially these rifles need to then run back to the right. He needs to choke them a little bit more. But it's still not that terrible. Because this is it. Aurelius doesn't have that critical mass that he desperately needs in order to actually bring these huntresses down. They're just going to town on all of these militia. This is truly a drunken game. Truly a drunken game. So scroll of protection and that doing wonders, keeping Bombs huntresses alive longer than they probably should stay alive. Brad's beastery, rifle, watchtowers. Once they start building defensively, that's when they've pretty much lost because they're giving away. Well, you know, the control of the map now belongs to Bomb and Dicky, and the more towers they build basically means that the less control they have in terms of units. Dicky's now got quite a comfortable amount of cash. He might even be building up to something himself soon if Bomb gets himself up to 80 food, which he hasn't done. He lost quite a few units in that attack, but he doesn't care because he's switching to mass bears or whatever is coming out of these ancient laws. So it doesn't really matter too much to him to lose those huntresses because in fact he might even want to lose the huntresses. He'll use them and then lose them, but first he'll abuse them. So he's going to keep chucking them in sort of suicidal situations, but not totally suicidal in the sense that it's not, you know, it's still there's a reward for that risk sort of thing. Taking out all of these food burrows, potentially capping, needs to bring down that Priestess of the Moon to the right because it's quite obvious that's getting focused, but maybe he just wants the Priestess of the Moon tanking instead of the huntresses, so that might be it, and then he's just going to TP out anyway, so that works fine as well if that's your choice, and I assume that is from the way that it's being played right now. So you had that Priestess of the Moon tanking for as long as possible. Brad's has pretty much lost everything. Those towers didn't do enough, and he didn't even get to lose many huntresses, so he's actually going to have a lot of huntresses taking up the food. Not that they're useless by any means, but if you can get bears, you probably want those instead of huntresses. So Aurelius kind of recovering from his previous attack in this base, and now Brad's is going to be recovering from this attack. So they're both completely and utterly crippled. The only thing that's going for them is that they haven't really lost any units from those attacks, just buildings. Brad's 26 out of 10. 38 out of 10, 66 for Bomb, so he's even got more than both of them combined. Lots of rejuvenations going down, and then Master Bears in a moment. I like the little war stomp there, but it's not going to be enough, Mr. Brad's Tauren Chief, and no shockwave for you. And that's very pesky as well, is the Panda coming in here, flanking from the left-hand side, getting all of these rifles with Drunken Haze and Breath of Fire. It's too much to handle. There's no DPS here really to deal with what is currently on offer from Bomb and Dicky. There's just nothing you can do. And there's more bears as well. Yay. Yay! Level 4 Panda. Level 2 Farseer. About to go down. Ah. And that's gotta be it.
A player's forces are under attack.
There is no more. Well, there it is. Alrighty then, thank you all for watching. This has been it. That was definitely it. If there's any more, then I will include them at the end of the video, but there shouldn't be. That was a best of 3, 2-0. So there you go. That's your GBR 2 vs 2 tournament. I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and I'll see you later.